KK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. No use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close, smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch.
What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, hope we're doing well. It's a Friday. We're doing our usual Friday stream. Got a lot to talk about today. Not like when someone like me says they have a lot to talk about, that almost sounds like I have news for you. I don't really have news. It's just there's a lot of things that I saw around that I'd like to talk about. That's what these chill streams are really supposed to be. It's kind of supposed to be like almost light topical conversation and stuff like that. Like what else is in the news type shit. Excuse me, geez. But because of that, like sometimes I come on here and I just don't have anything to talk about because there isn't really anything that interesting going on. But there's been a few things that people have brought to my attention or that have come to my attention that I feel like we could discuss. But before we get to that, let me adjust the microphone just a little bit. What's going on, Yoshi? What's going on, Zach? What's going on, Neon? Hope we're all doing well tonight. Hope you had a good Friday so far. It's been an all right Friday. You know, went to work today. During the summer, I usually take the summers off, but since I'm getting ready for a big move, I was like, okay, I need the money. So I am working this summer. The thing is, the work is not steady. It's like, 2, maybe 3 days a week type stuff. But it's enough. So I worked today, and my sleep schedule is all fucked up. I'm a night owl, and the fact that I've been spending a lot of time at my parents' house does not help that because, the only time I really feel comfortable to do fucking anything is when they're asleep. So I got to basically wait for them to be asleep so that I can start doing my thing, you know, my thing and my stuff. And because of that, like I try to maximize the amount of time that I have where I don't feel like I have to walk on eggshells. And you know, one thing leads to another. We're gonna be like slowly moving our stuff into the new place, but I'm not probably going to be able to move this stuff, my streaming stuff, in until like probably halfway through June. So that's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. I think I'm going to divide my time between here and the new place because I'll be honest with you, I want to play video games sometimes, and you know, my wife and I, we've been talking, and we barely ever have time away from each other. We love each other dearly. We want to be around each other, obviously, but like one of the things that I'm learning after 5 years of marriage, 6 years of being with my wife, is that you really do need to just be alone sometimes. And that is tough when you're living in a 2 bedroom apartment with a minimum of 4 people, two of which are not married. You know, we've basically gotten used to somebody sleeping on our couch at pretty much like any time. And at one point, I had fucking 7 people. Was it 7 or was it 8? It was me. Uh, 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 yeah, no, it was 8 at one point. I had 8 people living in a 2 bedroom apartment at one point. We were doing that fucking typical like Latino coming to America bullshit because some family friends of ours, I guess you could call them that, they ended up in a place where they well, that's the thing. They didn't end up in a place. They were basically homeless for like 3 or 4 months, you know, and that was fucking terrible. But you know, hey, it's behind us now. It's behind us now. Um, Working is for the plebs. It is. I want to do the Epstein thing, except not with girls. I want to deal in abstract topics and stuff like that is what I want to do. What was it? What was it that he said? What was it that he said? Something about like I make my money with abstract ideas and sectors. I let the goyim deal in the real world. I'm pretty sure that's what he said at some point, something like that, you know. And yeah, that you know, a mutual friend of ours, Neon, a mutual friend of ours, he had a saying called fraud world, right? And you know, I've been using that term as well for a while now. That's actually when I made the griefing videos that I delved into briefly. I made like 2 or 3 of those. When I made the griefing videos that I made, I actually named them after that concept because fraud world is essentially what fucking Epstein was describing, you know, making money off of like stocks, making money off of like other bullshit things and trying to 10x whatever you put in. Um, you know, it's just funny that like we've always known about that, but like there it's like confirmed. Not that it needed to be confirmed, but you get the idea. Time alone is maintenance, not abandonment. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, the thing is, it's like I'm someone, I don't want to miss out on things. I don't want to miss out on things. I don't want to miss out on time with people. And I have a routine, and when that routine is disrupted, it feels like my life just like ex- just explodes. And because of that, sometimes you end up, you know, like sometimes I feel like I have to hang out with the wife because it's like she's my wife and I love her and I don't want to be away from her, you know. And like, I mean, shit. Sometimes you got to be away. Sometimes you got to be away from each other, you know. Um, but yeah, it should be a little bit better because the place we're moving into is going to be a little bit better in that way. And then in addition to that, we are not going to have to worry about somebody sleeping on our fucking couch anymore. So we can actually go into separate rooms, you know? That's the worst thing is when you have to share a room with somebody, even if you love them, right? You have to share a room with somebody, and that's just the only space that you actually have to yourself. Any other space that you try and utilize, somebody is taking it up because that's like either A, they just have no sense of like being in the way. They don't know how to make themselves small. They can only make themselves big, or they're that's just their living space. That's what my living room was in the old place that I was at. We had, I want to say, like 2 or 3 months where we had the living room to ourselves, and it was fantastic. I'd come home after work, I'd make myself dinner, and I would eat at the kitchen table. There's something nice about eating at a kitchen table. And then 2 or 3 months into it, all of a sudden we have a person who is now sleeping on our couch. So can't do that anymore. You know, it's like fucking A. I need solitude. It's not enough that I'm in a room and somebody else is in a room and they're being quiet. For one thing, the people that I live with, they don't really know what quiet and out of the way is a lot of the time. But even if they did, it would be a little too weird for me to be sitting here knowing that they're like I'm here at the kitchen table eating the steak and eggs that I made, and then fucking I got like my sister-in-law sitting on the couch speaking in Portuguese, you know? It's like, holy fuck, man. Holy fuck. Even if it doesn't bother you in like a legitimate way where you're like, oh, dude, I want this person out. I want them gone. Even if you don't mind it, even if the front of your brain doesn't mind it, the front of your mind, in the back of your mind, it's chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping away. And soon you're going to find issues with that person. With my family, with my in-laws, I'll be honest with you. You know, I love them to death, but hey, I don't got to look hard to find issues. I'll say that much, you know. But like, it's yeesh, it's bad. It's bad, you know. Um, Man, time ticks fast, kids. You'll wake up and be broken and almost dead. Happens quick. Oh yeah, you know. Neon, you said something to me one day that you know, it I won't say it like changed my opinion necessarily, but it got me to think about something in like a crazy way. Like we were talking about death, right? And the subject of suicide came up, and you said like, I know sometimes it gets tough. I know sometimes you're like, you know, like sometimes you might think it's like not worth it to keep going. But I mean, I've been around death, and there's no like music that plays when you die. Time doesn't stop. It's just you're there and then you're gone, and everybody else around you is just like, all right, well, I guess they're gone. You know, it's not glamorous. It's not special. It's nothing. It's just that's it. You know, there's no choir of angels. There's no bright lights or anything like that. It's just, and that's that. You know, sometimes the eyes don't even close. That was a like, oh man, that is pretty crazy, you know. And that's again, like, as I am making my way through what I'm now just going to call my quarter life crisis. For the last year and a half to 2 years, I've been going through a quarter life crisis where I've been considering what has gone right and wrong in my life. One of the things that's gone wrong is that I have not protected my time and my energy the way that I need to. And I've given it to people that just did not have even if they had good intentions, the good intentions were misguided, and I got wrapped up in those. I got pulled into those things. And because of that, I ended up fucked over in some way, shape, or form. And because of that, when I think of wasting time, it makes me angry. When I think of somebody trying to waste my time, it makes me angry. And somebody, I think it was High Ecuador, right? High Ecuador tried to give me shit one day. I remember this. And I remember it's High Ecuador because he's the one guy that always tries to give me shit. I died in Arc Raiders, and I didn't think it was like a good death. I thought it was bullshit. I thought there was some kind of like technical side, whether it was just an unbalanced gameplay thing or if there was a glitch. And I got upset, and I was like, yo, you see, this is fucking bullshit, dude. Like, these guys can't even make a game that does this, that, and the other thing. And the reason I get like that is not even necessarily because I'm that competitive. I'm competitive, but not that competitive. I can die in a video game and be cool with it. But it's the fact that I did not get out of it what I wanted to get out of it. I did not have the experience that I was supposed to have, not because I wasn't good enough, but because the game was not good enough. The system that I was taking part in fucked me over. And because of that, my time has been wasted along with whatever resource, whether real or imaginary. And that makes me so angry, you know, after having about 10 years of my time wasted by not just one person, but different people, but especially one person in particular, and seeing the situation I'm in now and seeing the things that I missed out on now. I gotta be honest with you. Like, when I think of time wasters, I feel like we gotta go the Singaporean way, strap them to a pole and fucking like whack them with tree branches and shit like that. I feel like that's the only way to handle that. throw them in the stocks and hit them with pies and like ice balls and shit like that. So turn the fire hose on them. I feel like that's the only way to deal with that kind of thing. We need to implement that. We need to implement corporal punishment for time wasters is what we got to do. It's so it's so fucked up. It's so frustrating, And the worst part is all you can do is just move on from it, which is why I think we ought to employ corporal punishment, because you know what, we gotta teach these motherfuckers a lesson. We gotta teach these guys not to do that shit. We got to teach these people, hey, you make a video game, if it's broken, fix it. If it's broken and you're not fixing it, and instead you're putting updates in for new content, you deserve 40 lashes. You deserve 40 lashes is what you deserve. That's what you get. Okay? Now assume the position. Bend over, pull them pants down. Fucking and I'm half joking, but I'm only half joking. I would love to see somebody who wasted my time just get smacked upside the head, but that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, what's going on, Kurt? What's up, man? Kurt here from Canada. What's going on, Kurt from Canada? Hope you're doing well tonight. Thank you for coming. Scott Sully Striker should be host of season 6. Everyone has to pretend that you're Sam and you have to act like him. That would be pretty funny. I know I'd be a good host of Fish Tank. I know that I would be a good host because it would be similar to Blood Games where I have a character to play. And Blood Games, I played it on the safe side of the role play thing. I tried to make sure that I was like just playing as close to like I was playing myself if I was like an anime guy. You know how anime guys act? They try and some of them try to embody that like hey, I bet you thought you were smart, but not as smart as me, buddy. Like those guys, they try to do that shit. I played that kind of character because, for one thing, the character I was playing kind of called for that, but then two, it was going to be easier for me to do that. But like with someone like Scott Sully Striker, yeah, I could do a decent job of being a host, but that would never happen. We're entertaining a thought here. We're entertaining a thought. Man, sorry, just fucking looking around here. Being in a relationship shouldn't mean giving up your relationship with yourself. That's solitude. Exactly. It's just tough. That's like some of the issues my wife and I have. We have issues, but like nothing like too crazy or anything like that. Everybody has issues. Some of the issues that my wife and I have would be solved if we had a better living situation. I know that if we didn't have to share space with her family in the way that we do. Excuse me. And if we each had our own space, which is why I am kind of excited for this new place, because we will have like our own space. I'm going to be able to stream to you guys, and my wife isn't going to be sitting on the bed with her earbuds in watching shit on her phone because she can't use the TV type shit, and that's going to be good for both of us. It's going to be real good for both of us. But I still have that anime from the camping trip just because it triggers my wife. That's pretty great. I remember what you're referring to. For some reason, I'm having a hard time remembering the exact anime thing. I know it was a figurine, but oh man, I'm having a hard time remembering exactly what the figurine was. But I do remember what you're referring to. I forget who brought that. I'm obviously not going to mention names here, but I forget who brought that. I have two people in mind that I think brought it. I think it was the Twink, and then the one that had an interesting discovery about themselves within the last couple of years. But anyway, When you say time wasters, are you talking about people who waste others' time specifically? Yeah, um I mean, I've talked a little bit about it before, right? And I do want to get to some of the topics that I wanted to talk about. It's mostly stuff from Twitter that I saw, or things that I, talked about on Twitter that I want to expand upon here. But my goal after I graduated from high school was to become a professional fighter in the Ultimate Fighting Championships, the UFC. And I went to an MMA gym, and I thought that if I was loyal to that gym, it would work out for me. I was led on to believe that as long as I was willing to try my best and do everything that I needed to do and do right by this environment, that I would be helped to realize my potential. But I was not. And as time went on, priorities changed, both because I met my wife as well as the fact that I started to understand what the fight game really was. And because of that, I was like, okay, maybe I don't need to be Mr. UFC guy. It would be cool, but I don't need to. But I do want to be a gym owner. I want to own this place. He said he's going to give it to me someday, and I am coaching a lot of stuff here. So I think any minute now, any time now, this guy's going to tell me, "Hey, I want you to become a partner, and then one day I'm going to give you the gym." He never did that. Instead, he kept telling me, "It's going to be yours someday. It's going to be yours someday." And now I'm 31 years old. He originally told me he wanted me to take over the gym when I was, I believe, 24. He said, one day this is going to be yours. Then when I was 26, he calls me up. He has me come down to the gym, which usually is a bad sign. That usually means I'm in trouble for something. But he sits me down. He sits me down and then he tells me, "Hey, I'd like to try and get you ready to take this place over." I gotta fucking hold on. Sorry. There we go. Um, After that, right, it's like the conversation never happened. Like we have the conversation, and then over the next like month and a half to 2 months, I'm kind of trying to like figure out things and get involved more on like the business end, the numbers end, and I'm trying to learn like the computer system and stuff like that. He basically tells me to hold off. The bottom line is like I'm 31 years old. I should own a gym by now. I should be a business owner by now. And the reason I didn't start my own is because, for one thing, Massachusetts sucks for businesses. But then also I was waiting for this guy to get the let out and give me this gym so that I could work on it for a couple of years, hopefully turn it into a moneymaker. And then, when I'm 28, 29, 30, I can pop out a couple of kids. I can get pregnant. I can get pregnant and I can pop out a couple of kids. But no, that didn't happen. I'm butchering this. I apologize. I'm fucking up my own story here. My bad. But the bottom line is like I had a lot of my time wasted, and that's time that I can't get back, and there's no reason to even try and discuss it with the dude because he doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't matter to him. In his mind, it didn't happen. In his mind, he's the good guy. And if I tried to talk to him about it, he'd be like, "Scott's a punk. That kid's a punk." All that stuff that I did for him, making him teach all my classes while I fuck off and do nothing, letting him walk into the ring unprepared for the person that he was going to be fighting. It's like, fuck, man. We just need to trust God no matter what happens. Oh yeah, of course, of course. Oh man. So it was the twink. It was the twink. Yes. That's kind of what I figured, because that would be his thing, would be like, "Oh, haha, this is funny." I think oh no 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 no. No. He wasn't working at the GameStop that that girl was working at. He got a job with that girl at Walgreens, and then he no call no showed, and I remember she was so fucking angry about that. That was low key funny. That was low key funny. Of course, as I was the one on the ride at the time, I had to pretend like that wasn't hilarious, that he no call no showed her after she got him the job. But that was pretty funny. You know, Yo, what's going on, Arthur Morgan? But yeah, like to kind of cap off that story, I had a lot of time wasted by this guy. There were promises that were not met. I did things that I shouldn't have done. Obviously, it's not like it's always one way, but a lot of the core reasons why I never made it to the UFC and why I don't currently own a gym come down to this guy telling me, "No, no, you're good. You're fine. No, you're good. You're good. It's cool. It's good. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you." And then he doesn't take care of me. oh, excuse me. Like, that's the reason I haven't fought again, is because in 2019 I took a fight, and he helped me with conditioning. That's about all he helped me with. But and that's the fight that everybody usually finds on the internet, is me in that kickboxing match where I hurt my knee. That's the one that everybody was sharing around for a long time. I was doing wind sprints 3 times a week, and then I would hit the bag a couple of times a week, and I would shadow box, and then I would get sparring once a week. Every now and again, it wasn't a guarantee, but every now and again, this one dude named Jason would hold pads for me, and he'd also, spar with me a little bit too. He was pretty experienced himself. He's somebody who trained elsewhere, and then he started bringing his son to the gym, because he moved, into this area. And like, that is not a fight camp. That's not a good fight camp. That's not how it works. You should not be fighting if that's all you're doing, you know? Do gingers have souls? I don't know. I haven't figured out yet. Man. But yeah, it's ridiculous. You like there's situations and there's events that can take place that you will get in trouble if you waste somebody's time, you know? That's what contracts are for. But hey, whatever. I've already butchered one thing. I don't want to keep butchering it worse and worse, you know? I want to talk about some of that shit. Some of that shit. Fucking, there we go. This is something I've had a couple of tweets that have not done too bad lately. I had one tweet that got like over 100,000 views. I got this tweet here, which 32,000 views. Your boy's doing numbers lately. Your boy's doing numbers. But I said Stav embellishes his experience because that's his character. But there's also a thing with some women of his political camp where the "I hate myself" thing extends to sexual partners. A woman would have sex with Stav, ironically, because LOL, look at how low I went. I'm such a loser. Ha ha. I'd rather be an incel than a guy women go to because they're that dedicated to the bit. And this is 100% true, by the way. Somebody mentioned it, but if you see female comedians, right? I'm trying to see if I can find it. Uh, uh, um, uh, 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 Somebody mentioned something about female comedians, right? One of the things female comedians do, okay, yeah, fucking a lot of dirtbag leftists found this and they're like responding to it, so of course, but like a lot of these female comedians, that's their entire shtick, is like, oh, I'm a lady, so you probably think I'm really refined and graceful, but actually my pussy is oozing right now. There's a yellow secretion coming from my pussy right now, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to the doctor. I think actually after this I'm gonna try and fuck a fan. Ha ha ha. You have a lot of these, especially female comedians, who they think that gross and slut is funny, and this is something that, it's actually been talked about so much that people don't even talk about it anymore. It's run its course as a topic, but don't just think that's an act. These people are getting up and they're being themselves on stage, is what's going on. So when they see someone like Stavros is the kind of guy, he's got a very positive, upbeat energy. I'm sure he's actually probably kind of a fun dude to be around, but overall he's just like a disgusting dude. Like this guy is gross. I would say this guy is even more gross than this guy, right? And Asmongold has a reputation, is what he has. He has a reputation, but nobody would have sex with Stavros because they genuinely are like, yes, that's what I'm into. And when I say nobody, I'm not saying absolutely positively nobody, but what I'm saying is don't underestimate a bunch of like New York dirtbag liberal, I hate myself, I want to die types. Do not underestimate their willingness to actually go through with fucking Stavros because he's funny and he's upbeat, but Also, it's one of those like, dude, did you see I fucked that fat guy? Whoa. That's kind of part of the whole female dude bro thing. That's something that a lot of females, especially female comedians, want to do nowadays. Is they want to be like dude bro, like, I can hang with the boys. That's literally something that females will do, and it's just such a disgusting thing. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because you have a lot of dudes, right? For one thing, if you choose to be celibate, then you're not an incel. If thanks, thanks, buddy, thanks. You know, um, I want to see. Yes, I'd rather be an incel than get pussy. Is a bit of a weird take. LMAO. Yeah, I'd rather be an incel than have my only manner of getting pussy being the guy that women sleep with so that they can point and laugh and be like, you see, I slept with him. I want to die. That's how low I go. It's a bit. It's a joke. It's literally like they somebody said something about pity. It's not pity sex. It's literally irony sex. That's how irony poisoned these people are. You have a lot of people out there, and it's the same thing for a lot of things. See, uh, I know this is true because when you see, say, about 10 years ago when the whole incest thing started hitting porn. That was a big thing about 10 years ago for those of us that remember. Incest was being pushed in porn. And actually, one of the, I think he was like the CEO of like the company that owns Pornhub or something like that. When he was asked innocently, hey, why is there so much incest stuff in porn on the front page of Pornhub right now? He ended up accusing that person who asked him of anti-Semitism, is what he did. There was no like, oh, people just want that. No, just straight up, hey, you're asking an anti-Semitic question there. It was fucking crazy to see that. It's a brainworms kind of thing. That's what feet worship is. That's what this whole safe, horny, like, step on my nuts. Step on my nuts, dom me, step on my nuts. That's what all of that, like, I like older women. I like looking up at the big-breasted woman, and it makes me feel like she has power over me. That's what all that is. It's a brainworm. It's a trend. It's a joke that became a reality because that's what that shit was, And that's why memes are kind of dangerous, as like cringe as it is to even talk about memes today. Memes are not just memes, they're propaganda, and they are low-key instructions that people with an IQ above 105, right? Like people basically midwits, people from 100 to 110 and below that, they take to these kinds of things. They use it as instructions, and because of that, you see people who they're like, oh, feet, oh, wow, feet, oh, all of a sudden they're foot guys because there was instructions. There was a brainworm, a contagion, an info hazard that hit the internet. And I don't believe that was fake, not fake, an accident, excuse me. I don't believe that was an accident or anything like that. I think that there's probably somebody somewhere who has a vested interest in certain things. But you have dudes that are like sucking toes and eating ass because they were told to by the internet. You're not going to tell me that there aren't women who, because they were told to by the internet, would fuck Stav. You're not going to tell me that there aren't women who would do that. You're cooking now. Thank you, sir. What's going on, Dismodu? Scott, how much longer in the parents' place? Probably a couple more weeks. Irony sex. Yeah, literally, Stav gets irony sex. He gets irony sex. That's the kind of thing. And look, here's the thing. I'm a married man who obviously doesn't really have that much of a problem with women, right? Look, it's been, shall we say, it's documented, right? That I'm not that bad with women. I'm not that bad with them. All right? Okay? Can we throw me a bone here? Can we throw me a bone here? Can we admit that I'm not terrible with women here? Okay? All right, Neon, you've seen me with women. Can you back me up here? All right, please. Please. Please, Neon, please. No, but like jokes aside, like It's not like a I'm jealous thing. It's not a sour grapes thing or anything like that. I would quite literally rather be an incel than be this guy. It would be better for me to get no pussy and be angry about it than it would for me to be Mr. I'm so fat I can't see my dick and my entire personality is I fuck bro. Dude, I fuck bro. Dude, you know girls? I fuck those. I fuck those. I fuck girls. Did you know that, bro? My dick got sucked. It would be more respectable for me to be like an angry incel than it would for me to be this guy. And I would feel more so I would have more self-respect. I would feel better about myself if I was just not getting pussy and I was angry about it, you know? Um so it's like they say there's some fates worse than death. There's some fates worse than not getting pussy, and that's being the guy who's like this, who women have sex with him to try and be like, to go up on stage at like a comedy show and be like, yeah, my taste in guys is my taste in guys is so bad. I had sex with Stavros Halkias. I know, I'm such a gross bitch, right? My pussy's leaking purple. I've never seen a pussy leak purple before, but it is purple and not like a pretty purple, gross, deep, like chunky. It's so gross down there. And Stav fucked there because I let him. Like it would be better for me to be denied. It would be better for me to be denied, you know? Stavros is funny. I do think Stavros is a talented comedian. When it comes to the Come Town podcast, he was the least talented out of all of them. People like to shit on Adam Friedland, but when that guy actually does anything, he's pretty fucking hilarious about it. You know? I think Adam Friedland's actually really funny, you know? But I think they're all funny guys. I think they're all talented. It's just that Stav is just kind of a shitty personality. You know, he's not the kind of personality I would want to be around for an extended period like that. You know, the guy who had a weird fetish back in the day was an urban legend. Now the same guy can find an entire community to justify it and never course correct himself. Very true, Nuclear Snake. And then Neon said, Scott is good with women, and even new women, especially the new women. Sounds like autism is a vector of contagion. Oh yeah, it definitely is. You know, autism and a lot of these other mental illnesses, quote unquote, they are contagions. They're info hazards, and if you learn about them, chances are you're gonna find ways that you can align with them, and then you're gonna self-diagnose. Or I don't know if this is better or worse. You're going to go to somebody and you're going to be like, yeah, so here's my life. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, you do have autism. Here, we're going to put you in a retard room now. And now you're just in a room full of retards and you start acting like them and doing things the way that they would do them. And you now are not normal and you can't live a normal life, you know? But yeah, so somebody, yes, the biggest sign someone is totally broken loser are those into feet. Oh yeah, 100%. You know, I saw like this is one of those things that like you know you're looking at a video on Twitter and then the next video auto loads. The next video after I watched this one video was like I guess some people at an anime convention got some kind of sickness. There was some kind of like bacteria that spread because these women were like dipping their feet in like Kool-Aid and letting them drip into dudes' mouths. Like there was a line of dudes, right? And look, anime has always been pretty degenerate, but I know it was not that degenerate back in the day. I know it was always kind of bad, but it was not that bad back in the day where you would go to an anime like one of the weirdest things. And full disclosure, I've never been to an anime convention, but when it comes to anime conventions and what I knew about them back in the day, the weirdest thing was you'd have a dude who would ironically dress as like a female anime character because I'm a fat, hairy, smelly dude, but I'm dressing like Sailor Moon. Isn't that hilarious? Haha. Now you have dudes who are straight up like, yes, like dip your foot in that Kool-Aid so I can let the runoff drip into my mouth. Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm not interested. But I saw just enough of it to see, one, that, and then two, the caption that said, like, 20 something people, virus anime convention. You know, that's a contagion. It's a fucking contagion. You know, it's not real. But what happens is these guys, they want to be accepted. And whether that is considered to be okay or if it's considered to be harmless, they will do it. Because there's two situations where that could be. One, it's considered normal, so it's actually weird if you're not that guy. I would not be surprised if that's a little bit of how it goes at, say, like an anime convention or something like that, but I know that not everybody there is doing it. Or what it is, and all of us know somebody like this. You have that person who thinks when they fuck up and everybody laughs at them, that means they are being accepted. What they're doing is they're trying their best to show everybody, hey, I'm harmless and I'm feckless. Please don't mess with me. Please just be nice to me. And whether it works or not, nobody actually respects that guy. So that's what it is. It's either A, it's so normal that people are just like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll try it. I mean, hey, when in Rome, right? I guess I got to suck the Kool-Aid off of this woman's foot. Or you have the other side of it, which is where a lot of this started, by the way. It started as like a, I'm so quirky and weird, haha. Oh, yes, I like feet, haha. That's quirky and weird. And now it's just like the norm for weird anime bros. You know, it's disgusting. I don't want to know about Japanese spit wine. I am all set on that. I am all set on that. Stav is walking, breathing steam locomotive fuel. Yeah, fucking A. Yes, 100% are simps of autism. Did you mean simps? Stavros ruined CT. His laugh is so. Oh, come town. His laugh is so cringe. Yeah, like Stavros on his own, I would never watch. But Stavros and Come Town, I didn't absolutely hate him. But you could definitely tell he was the most like pussy out of all three of them, I guess you could say. You know, but the guy. Oh, I already read that one. Stavros never seemed very funny, like, ever. Like that's the thing, is like I don't want to hate on Stavros in the way that like a hater would. I'm not hating on Stavros. If Stavros lost a ton of weight and made anything other than being like Mr. Left-wing college frat bro his personality, I wouldn't have anything bad to say about the guy. I think he's funny. I liked him on Come Town, you know. And like whatever, you know, he's doing his thing. Good for him. He's successful. But if we're talking about this, right, Mr. I'm left wing and I respect women, but also like you get no pussy. It's like, oh, that's all women are, huh? Is pussy, right? But I'm the bad guy when I call them bitches. Yeah, you know, that's part of the problem. That's a big problem, you know. It's like if I was calling him bitches around him, he might have a problem with that, but he can then turn around and be like, you get no pussy. It's just like that classic thing. People were talking about this last week with the whole boys thing. You know, if you are anti-gay, if you don't support gay marriage, you're evil and we need to dox you and, you know, ruin your life. But the second you disagree with me, I'm going to accuse you of sucking dick, because the ultimate insult that I could use against you is to accuse you of homosexuality. You know, it's one of those things. Well, the way things are going, they'll probably be selling canned foot juice soon. They already sell bathwater and spit. Yes. Unfortunately. Oh yeah. I want to show you guys. I gotta show you guys something. This is my favorite. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite thing. I love the hell out of these things, and whenever I see them, or whenever they get sent to me, because I know they come from 4chan. By now, I know the only place that ever talks about me. I don't even know if they do anymore. Is people on 4chan. So thanks. Shout out to FTL. But these things fucking rule. And whenever somebody sends them to me, or if I come across them in the wild somehow, some way, I like to make sure I post them. So thank you for this. This is really cool. I love the hell out of that. I don't know who did it, but you rule. Oh yeah, you know what? There's like a couple. Oh, there it is. There's a couple more things that I want to talk about, right? This right here, right? Oh, I didn't know he was Orthodox. I didn't know he was Orthodox. I'm gonna have to hit that unfollow. No, kidding. But this right here is something I've been talking about for a long time now, and I'm glad to see other people starting to talk about it. But this is Jonathan at heavenly_race on Twitter. You should give him a follow. All 14 of you that are watching. Once you hit about a 20-point IQ gap, communication starts to completely break down. It's not that the lower IQ person is stupid, although that can often be the case, or the higher one is arrogant. It's that you're literally operating on different systems. A 20-point difference, roughly 1.3 standard deviations, means vocabulary and abstraction levels diverge sharply. What feels like crystal clear logic to one side sounds like vague, pretentious word salad to the other. Jokes land flat. Metaphors get taken literally. Complex cause and effect chains get simplified into this good, that bad. Different time horizons and pattern recognition. One person thinks in months or years and sees systems. The other is locked into days or immediate rewards. Trying to explain second-order effects feels like speaking another language. Excuse me. Also, processing speed and working memory gaps. The higher IQ person is already 3 steps ahead, getting impatient. The lower IQ person feels talked down to or overwhelmed. Both walk away frustrated. Both have wasted each other's time. I like this because, truth be told, when I talk about this a lot, I do tend to talk about it from the standpoint of somebody who is on that higher IQ side. And you always, including right now, you always sound like a dickhead when you're like, I'm high IQ. I'm high IQ. I'm Mr. High IQ over here, right? But I know that I am smarter than the average bear, right? And when I talk about it, I tend to be a little bit inflammatory. But at the very least, this guy says both walk away frustrated, both have wasted each other's time. It's not just you stupid fools, you idiots, or anything like that, right? But a couple of things that really stuck with me, right? What feels like crystal clear logic to one side sounds like vague, pretentious word salad to the other. Jokes land flat, metaphors get taken literally, complex cause and effect chains get simplified into this good, this bad. A lot of people think that low IQ is like drooling, like, duh, 2 + 2 = 7, duh. That's what a lot of people think low IQ sounds like, or even midwit IQ, right? Midwit is not that high. If you're smarter than the average bear, you're only smarter than a bear, right? Which I'm pretty sure, ironically is what I'm pretty sure I said about myself, right? But you get what I mean, right? If you're a midwit, you're only smarter than a dummy. That's it. That's all. You don't get points for being smarter than a dummy. That's like me. Like, one of the things I love to hear is people who are like, oh nah, but like my martial arts, they ain't for the cage, they for the streets. And it's like, yeah, because you could only beat up somebody who doesn't train at all and who has never been in a real fight before. You don't get points for that, right? And the same goes with IQ. If you're smarter than a dummy, you're supposed to be smarter than a dummy. Either that or you're a dummy. So congratulations, but you don't get points. Get the fuck out of my face. But especially metaphors get taken literally. If you can make a metaphor, if you can utilize metaphor and somebody takes it literally, that is one of the quickest and easiest ways to judge whether or not they're going to be worth your time. And another great example of this is also whether or not somebody can understand things like averages or majority versus minority, or rules and exceptions to the rule. This is something that people say about women a lot, which I'm not saying women are dumb or anything like that, but this is the example that I've seen. People talk about if you want to know whether a woman is worth, geez, if you want to know whether a woman is worth dealing with, make a general statement that is true, that is obviously true to them, and see how they react. If you say men are taller than women, and they go, well, actually, I'm tall for a woman. I'm taller than a couple of the guys that I know. If that's the way she responds, she's probably a dummy and you should get away from her, right? Or at least be very aware that that is how she processes information, is she can only process it through the lens of me or what I want or what I think and how I feel. That's the only thing that she can do. That's the only way she can process things, right? Another great example of this. Let's say we're all hanging out, right? And Neon comes in and he's like, "Hey Scott, one of our old friends died. Let's find some wood to knock on real quick." Okay. Let's say he told me that. Now, I might turn to somebody, right? Let's say I go to, like, actually this happens with my MMA coach a lot. This happens with my MMA coach a lot, if I'm being honest with you. I might go to him and be like, "My friend just hit me with some really fucked up news." And he might genuinely turn to me and be like, "Your friend hit you? He hit you? Why'd he hit you?" Like, that is, you will find so much of that in the world if you're somebody who uses metaphor to try and make a point. I use a lot of metaphor. I use a lot of simile. I use a lot of proverb. I speak proverbially, I guess you could say. And the reason I do that is because I want to make things as crystal clear as possible. But what it usually does is and I think this is also partially a purposeful thing on these people's end, it puts these people in a place where they're like confused. It confuses people. It confuses people. And that is extremely frustrating. And it's a reason why, again, I kind of try to avoid people as best I can. I don't like talking to people a ton because they simply, most people, and this is most people. This is the average person that you will run into. They cannot understand these things. Most people are operating the way a dog would operate. They just may or may not have an inner monologue that speaks English or whatever language is their first language, but they're still kind of just operating off of, "I want this. I'm going to do it now," without any kind of thought of secondary or tertiary events that could arise from them trying to get whatever it is they want in that moment, you know? Um, but this right here, this right here is what made me really want to talk about it, because you need to understand, this is something that I only came to grips with sort of recently myself, is that people aren't going to be drooling. They're not going to be in front of you trying to put a square peg in a round hole going, "Why isn't this fucking working, dude? Why isn't this fucking working?" It's going to look a lot differently than you would expect it to look on, like, TV or something like that. It's going to be that when you try to explain something to someone, they feel threatened and they get upset about it. Or they simply don't want to go along with your explanation, even if it is well thought out and well constructed and it is objectively correct. They simply don't want to hear it. Or if there is just an inability to step back or to stop themselves from doing something that will have a severe blowback on you or them or anybody else. That's what it's going to look like. Most people have a pretty good grasp of the English language, even if people speak in dialects and with different slangs and stuff like that, different accents that sound weird, that sound different and stuff like that. People have a good grasp of the English language and they can probably tell you what 2 plus 2 is. Right? It's of course 3, as we all know. But when it comes to actually trying to communicate, actually trying to spread an idea from you to them, actually trying to get them to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it and how it works for you, even if they feel like they have a different way of doing it, even just trying to get a word in edgewise, it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a real challenge, Another great example is if somebody has to speak before you're done speaking. I used this as an example, right? This woman comes to my gym twice a week to woman the counter, and she's a really nice woman, and I've known her and her children for years. Really good kids, really nice woman, really good family, right? But this is just an example of something that happened the other day. I have been missing a lot of the gym lately because I've been really stressed and I've had a lot of stuff going on. And because of that, I've had to just be like, hey, I can't make it today. I can't make it this day. I can't make it that day. And there was a mix up with the payment, right? I have to write my hours down in this book, and then she will sign off on those and then give me a check. And when I don't put my numbers in the book, I'm already starting to fucking butcher this story. The bottom line is, I tried to explain something to her. I tried to say, hey, I've been all over the place lately mentally. I have not been here mentally. And when I said I have not been here, instead of listening to me say mentally, I have not really been in it from a mental standpoint. I've been all over the place, disorganized, fucked up. Instead of listening to me explain that, she cuts me off and she says, yeah, you've been missing a lot lately. Again, like, I'm butchering that. I'm butchering it, and it's not coming out the way that I wanted to, and I apologize. And frankly, for me, that's part of the reason why I butcher things, is because when I was younger, I tried my best to just explain things in a proper manner to people, but I got so used to having to dumb myself down and be extremely specific about things so that people, A, do not fuck things up, but then B, they also can't use that as a means to try and fuck with me. Because that's part of it, is that a lot of the time these people don't know any nuanced way to get what they want. So they have to do this weird Hulk smash thing where, like, if you allow them the room, they will disregard everything you've said because you didn't make an allowance for the 0.2% of people who are taller than men, as an example, right? That's what these women in that example that I was using about the whole men are taller than women thing. Because you didn't make an allowance for women being taller than men, like whatever percent of the time, they will completely and totally disregard what is a known fact scientifically, biologically. Everywhere agrees that it is objectively true that men are taller than women. But because you didn't make an allowance, because you didn't make sure to mention the exception to the rule, now all of a sudden they're attacking you on those grounds. So because of that, I got into the habit of talking a little bit too much and being tedious about the way that I explain things so that I don't have to fucking listen to someone when I say, men are taller than women. It's a lot easier to just say that, but because I'm so used to people being dickheads about it, I kind of developed a way of speaking where I would be, like I said, tedious about it. And it can be a little annoying at times. I'm aware of that, where I might go, well, men are taller than women, except for this percentage of time. Then every now and again, you get a woman who's taller than men, but, men are usually typically taller than women. You get what I'm saying. I'm sure you understand. Oh, man. Bro, you're butchering it because it's time for self-reflection and not have to talk to these people. I don't know what you mean by that, Kurt. I believe in neurodivergence as an evolutionary necessity. Hyperintelligence would require simultaneous escape from that process at the reproductive level, either eugenically or technologically. Um, so basically, is what you're trying to say, Zach, is like autism is the next step of evolution, or there's some aspect of evolution where autism is eugenic in some way. I'm just, I'm curious. Reminder that you were describing everyone's mother. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. That's a big thing with mothers, especially. you know and that's why I developed the way that I was. I've been thinking a lot about stuff lately, and like, I am the product of abuse. I was abused very heavily when I was a kid, and unfortunately the only way that people will acknowledge abuse is if you were burned with cigarettes, or like whipped with a chain, whipped with barbed wire and shit like that, you know? That's the only way that people will acknowledge abuse as legitimate, as valid, you know? But that's not the way that it works. That's not the way that it is, you know? That psychological and that mental and that spiritual abuse can be just as bad, and in some cases worse than the physical abuse, right? Any kind of abuse is bad, but the idea that physical abuse is always going to be worse than psychological abuse is like, that's not really 100% true. That's not really 100% true, you know. I've been in plenty of fights in my life. I've had plenty of people hit me in the face, and I don't hold any ill will towards any of those guys. Like, whether it was an MMA fight where we never had bad blood in the first place, or if it was like a street fight between me and this guy who we had bad blood, I don't hold a grudge against them. You know who I do hold grudges against? My mom. You know, she was extremely fucked up, and it made me into a fucked up person. And I'm a lot better than I used to be. But as I said, there's still remnants of that. Like, for instance, when I try to explain something, sometimes I trip over myself. Sometimes I bungle the point because I don't want to have to listen to some fucking asshole jump in the chat and be like, well, actually, I don't want to have to listen to that because it's fucking annoying, you know? And part of it is that I feel like I have to win, and that's my fault. That's my ego talking, right? And I need to get over that myself, right? But sometimes you need to win. Sometimes it's a situation where you're going to lose out on something that you want or need if you do not win this fucking argument. So it's like, not every argument that you get into is not worth it. Sometimes the argument really is fucking worth it, you know? But like, you're never gonna be able to win properly. You're never gonna be able to properly get what you want or need if you're dealing with someone who is low IQ, and because of that, they can't entertain metaphor or anything like that. And a lot of the time it's aggressive and it's offensive. Low IQ, I know I've been insinuating that these people are stupid every now and again, but low IQ does not necessarily mean you're stupid. It's just that you have a harder time grasping more abstract, complex abstract concepts, excuse me. And because of that, when you're in the middle of an argument, right, whether it's on purpose or not, you might sit there and be like, well, actually, 0.2% of women are taller than men. So you're wrong, and I'm right, and I win, and I get to take this thing now. I get to take this thing. I get to have this. It's mine now because you didn't allow for the 0.2% of women that are taller than men. So fuck you, buddy. Like, that's how people operate. That's how people do things, you know? And it's terrible. It's awful to be around people like that, you know? And it's something that a lot of women do. A lot of women do that, you know? And it's gross. It's disgusting, you know? And that's why you shouldn't argue with women whenever you can. But the thing is, like, if it's your mom, what are you going to do? Listen to her 100% of the time? What I learned too late in life is that I should have just said, yes, mom, and then fucking lied and did whatever the hell I want. You know, that's what my brother did, and he's a lot better off in that way. And that's like, here's a great example of me fucking up because of that need to not have to listen to people go. Actually, the episode of PKA that I was on, I think it was about a month ago at this point. If you listen to that episode, I forget exactly what the timestamp would be, but we were talking about what weapon would make you like nervous to try and have to fight somebody. If somebody brandished a certain weapon against you, what weapon would that have to be for you to be like, whoa, I don't think I want any of this, right? And I said a sharp weapon, like a pair of scissors or a knife or something like that. And I talked about how from a certain range and utilizing a certain caliber, it would be better for you to get shot than it would for you to get stabbed. If somebody was as far away from me as my camera is right now and they held a gun up to my chest, I would rather that happen than them stab me with a knife, because there is a much greater chance, regardless of what the caliber is, regardless of how the velocity out of the barrel is, there's a greater chance of that bullet just passing straight through without any tumble. It's the tumble that a bullet does through your body that creates even more damage than just the bullet itself. And because of that, if you don't have that tumble, you have a much greater chance of the bullet just passing straight through with whatever like primary damage is done in this like basically you have a cylinder that's that wide cut through your body. It's much better for that to happen, right? With a knife, you have a much greater chance of there being a lot more damage done. And not only that, but a knife doesn't run out of bullets, and there's other aspects of it. I was trying to explain that, but because I was nervous, and I'm not calling Kyle an asshole, by the way. Kyle's a cool guy. I've talked to him even out of PKA before. He's an all right dude. But like Kyle, FPS Russia could have easily made me look like a fucking idiot if he disagreed with my assessment, which I know was objectively true. But if he didn't know it was objectively true and he disagreed, everybody would have taken his side because he's FPS Russia. He's the gun guy. I'm not the gun guy. He's the gun guy, right? So if he said, no, I disagree, I would have looked foolish. And because of that, I sat there and I was like, well, look, I know it sounds retarded. Um, but it sounds dumb, but like I said that a couple of times and I had a hard time getting it out. It's not fun. It's not good to have that constant second guessing whether or not you're going to be taken the way that you should be taken. It's not fun to have that, It sucks. 100% a knife is more dangerous at close range. Oh yeah, for sure, Um I think without autistic people, we would not have half our formulas, and without narcissists in government, we would have had a much longer Middle Ages. Genetics which potentially produce those things. Ah, I see. Yeah, I mean, I know, I understand what you're saying, because the thing is, like, it's a handful of people that push us forward technologically and societally, as important as a farmer is usually not going to be the guy that pushes us into the next age, technologically, spiritually, societally, just in any way that you can think. It's not going to be some random anonymous dude. It's going to be somebody who lusts for power, if we're being honest here. That lust for power is not necessarily always a bad thing. Not everybody who has power or everybody who invents something is like truly a bad guy or anything like that. But you do need to have a certain level of delusion to think, hey, yes, I should have power. I should be the one in charge. I should definitely invent this thing, and I should try my best to make it as widespread as possible, et cetera, et cetera. There has to be a certain level of delusion. I don't believe in autism. I believe in narcissism, but I don't believe in autism. But like, I think personality traits that lead to a high level of obsession probably exist. And I think it's a lot more common than people realize. It's just that some people go a little bit harder than others. You could sit anybody down and have them talk endlessly about whatever their favorite thing is. But you have some people who they're just inappropriate about it. And usually it's because they're emotionally stunted in some way, shape, or form, and not because of some abstract idea that maybe they're different from us on a brain level or something like that, but because they probably had something happen to them. There was probably something that happened to them. Like any weirdness you get out of me, I can explain to you. I could even tell you in some cases specific events and things that happened where I was like, okay, I guess I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do that instead. I see this was bad. I don't like that happened. I'm not going to do that anymore, you know? Um, and it's, I mean, hey, that's not what autism is. Autism is not, environmental. Autism is a nature thing, according to these very fucking people who made the shit up in the first place. So there we go. I am least afraid of Chinese star at close range. It's hard to grip it for slicing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, even from long range, like you would have to get hit a certain way. That's actually something we talked about was ninja stars. Ninja stars, you would have to get hit a certain way in a certain place for that to really do anything. It would be a luck of the draw thing. Like, all right, I'm gonna aim for the face. Hopefully, I hit the eye. Okay, I'm going to aim for the throat. Hopefully, I don't just give this guy a tracheotomy. Hopefully, I slice something that's going to bleed him out. That's what you would have to do with one of those. Um, Scott, do you do motivational speeches for a living? No, of course not. I just got done talking about how I'm not that good of an orator. Yeah, you know. Do you think this mindset comes because of MMA, or did MMA help you channel your brain? I don't know what you mean by that, Dismodu. You're gonna have to be more specific because I missed your thing, and I don't know. I don't remember exactly what I was saying 5 minutes ago that would have triggered you to ask that question. Um, Non-autist brainwave emanations probably look the same as females. Yeah, like we live in a diseased world, in a diseased society where most people are not okay. They're not doing all right. The levels of depression, which I don't believe in clinical depression, but I do believe in depression as like a mode of describing how you feel about yourself and life and just everything in general, right? But the levels of people who are depressed are going up. The levels of people who are on SSRIs, which do not help, they only hurt, uh, which makes the problem worse, of course. They are on the rise, right? The world is not getting better by any metric, and everybody is pretty much aware of that, either empirically or statistically, objectively or even subjectively, right? Everybody's kind of low and high key aware that the world is not getting better, that people are not getting better. So when the world, which is only getting worse, looks at me and goes, yeah, I don't like you, that's probably a good thing. It's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. It's a bad thing socially because you want to be able to fit in. As much as I like being someone who is of above average intelligence and not just like a little bit above, I know that I'm higher than that, right? Um, I like that. I like being able to look at things and understand them on a level that the average person doesn't. I like being able to plan for a bunch of different inevitabilities so that when one thing happens that I foresaw a month ago, I know what to do right away. I don't have to stop and have like a panic moment and be like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Right? You could ask my wife. She's not here right now. She's at the new place. But you could ask my wife, like fucking I'm like, I have a plan for everything. I'm constantly just like, okay, if this happens, we're going to do this. If that happens, we're going to do this. If this happens, we're going to do that. Right. And there are downsides to that too. But like the upsides are so fucking good. But when it comes to having to fit in with the average normie, I don't do that very well. And because of that, that makes certain things a little difficult. Like, say, networking for jobs. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do that when I have enough cybersecurity experience. I mean, maybe I could do it over the internet and I could meet these guys in person after I talk to them on the internet for a while so that I can kind of get to know them and they can get to know me. That way there won't be any awkwardness or anything like that. Maybe that's the way, maybe that's how it can be done. But regardless of like what happens, how it's going to be a challenge for me on the social level, you know? And I mean, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I am what I am. But anyway, can you use them at close range at all? Is there a technique? I guess you would want to slash with them. You definitely wouldn't want to stab because the thing is your finger would slip and you'd get yourself, in the hand. I don't think you would want that to happen. Excuse me. But yeah, like it's tough. It's tough. There are good things and there are bad things about it. I like being of above average intelligence, but it bites me in the ass in some ways. And that's one of those ways. Um I also this is not an intelligence thing. This is more just that again, it's like a trauma thing, right? Not to trauma dump too hard on you guys or anything like that, but we are going to be talking about something in a second. Let's go ahead, right? We'll get ready for this, but um, like I'm used to whenever I have a story, whenever I have something to say, um, people are just not interested in it, and they might even be a little bit annoyed, or they might be confused and stuff like that. So because of that, I don't tell a lot of stories. Like for instance, something I see from PKA subreddits and other PKA hangouts whenever I'm on is they're like, he's boring. He just doesn't have, oh dude, he doesn't have anything to fucking say. And it's like, actually I do, but I'm not going to be like, hey Kyle, shut up. I want to talk about the time I got into a 100-man brawl in Providence, Rhode Island. Hey Woody, pipe down. You want to hear the story of how I almost caught herpes? I was at a fucking swinger party, bro. Like I don't want to fucking I'm not gonna tell stories because for one thing, like why would I want to tell stories like that given who I am, right? But like if I was in the mood to tell a story, I could, but I'm not going to interrupt Taylor's in the middle of talking about AoE or Woody's talking about paragliding or Kyle's talking about being Kyle. and I'm like, "Hey, let's change the subject. You want to hear about Sandra Birchmore?" Yeah, I know a girl who was allegedly murdered by the police and they allegedly covered it up to look like a suicide. Yeah, you want to hear that story? I could tell you all about it. I could tell you about how she told me about the guy who would allegedly murder her, and I tried to be like, "Hey, maybe you should not be with that guy. Maybe you shouldn't be with that dude. Maybe you should move on and find somebody else. Maybe that would be a good idea." Like I could tell these stories, you know? By the way, the swinger party thing was made up. It was made up. It was not real. I can make up stories too. So there. But like it's I'm not going to interrupt the flow of something because I've noticed that when I do that to be like, "Oh, hey guys, here's a story." Like wherever I happen to be at, people are like, oh, they get like mad about it, and it's like, I don't fuck that, dude. Fuck that shit. Anyway, just being able to articulate your thoughts clearly and applying logic to them. Is there a correlation to MMA and that level of thinking, or at least succeeding in MMA? I mean, that's why I'm a good coach. That's why I had success as part of a team. I was part of a team with the whole YouTube boxing thing, right? That team was basically led by Sam. But that's part of the reason Sam had the success he did in his fight, right? That's part of the reason why Brandon had the success that he did, right? Because I brought a certain way of training and a certain way of explaining things. And like I said, I was part of a team. This was a team effort, and I was not the leader. I was not the one calling shots. I was doing what Sam wanted me to do, but I brought my own way of doing these things and teaching these things when I had to work with these guys, right? And I have no doubt in my mind, I mean, especially now what we know about how Chris Ray Gun was fighting, Froggy Fresh would have killed Chris Ray Gun. Froggy Fresh was actually really athletic, and he took to boxing pretty well, if I'm being honest with you. Dude's kind of a beast athletically, if I'm being honest with you. But he would have killed Chris Ray Gun. And then the other one was the quartering. The quartering was going to be fighting a guy who was, I think, 1.5 to 2 feet shorter than him and probably 30 to 40 pounds lighter than him. And he was not as athletic as, say, Froggy Fresh was, but he took to the training pretty well, and he had cinder blocks for hands. Dude hit me with a jab. I ducked into it. We were only going like 30 to 40%. He hits me with a jab. I catch it here, and the skyline went when that happened. He rattled me with a jab that was not even half speed. Like the quartering would have, I think his name was like Tech USA or something like that. The dude shorter than me, he would have, like, I was joking when I said Froggy Fresh would have killed Chris Ray Gun. The quartering would have potentially seriously killed this guy that he was going to be fighting against. That would not have been good for that guy. That was smart of that guy to pull out. Very smart of that guy to pull out. But Um, yeah, like it helps me with coaching for sure. I believe it also. I just fucking just got my chin right here. I believe it also helps me with aspects of actually fighting, like fight IQ. I do believe it helps me with that too. You know, um, but yeah, MMA didn't really help me with that. I've always had a very analytical mind. I've always been very good at deconstructing problems and finding a way around them and preparing for different inevitabilities and just other things like that. I've always been very, very good at that stuff. I have a very good memory. I don't fucking forget anything. You know, I never have to write anything down because I can just make sure that I have it all in my head and I never forget anything. Let's knock on wood, kids. With my luck, I'll forget to do something tomorrow. you know, there will be something, but yeah, like I have a higher cognitive ability, a higher cognitive function than the average person. And that has helped me with a lot of different things, including with MMA. But MMA did not help me with the other. I guess you could say it helped me to be calm under pressure, but the thing is, I've always been calm under pressure. You know, whether I win, lose, or draw, I'm always calm about it. I'm always chill about it. Um, Nuclear mentioned something about yes, Jimmy's new show peaked on day 2. It had Jimmy, Freddie, Alex B, and John in the same room. So many crazy characters, genuinely became an art house film. Yeah, like there's been a couple of things lately. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's been a couple of things lately I've been a little bit jealous that I was not involved in. That's one of those things. But the thing is, it's all the way out in LA. There's no way I would have been able to be involved. Would have been nice to be asked. Would have been nice to be asked. I would have said no, but it would have been nice to be asked. That would have been fun to be in that room. Um, would have been fun to hit on fucking the black white chick. I like black chicks that are really white chicks, and that's what Missy's friend is. And I would have had so much fun just like hamming it up for the camera, just like whether it landed or not. If it didn't land, and when I say land, I mean if like she wasn't receptive to it. If she wasn't receptive to it, it would have been even funnier. That would have been even funnier. I don't have a problem getting a little egg on my face from time to time, as long as it is funny, right? As long as it serves the purpose of we're driving content, right? That would have been fun. That would have been funny. PKA fan base is low IQ. Only the Woody fans. Only the Woody fans. The Taylor fans, they're all right. They're all right, guys. They're a bunch of all right. They're a bunch of cool cats. Bunch of cool cats. Yeah, but I hope Jimmy Tank works out for them. I forget exactly what they were calling it, but yeah. We'll just call it Jimmy Tank. We'll just call it Jimmy Tank. Stop asking and start taking, Scott. You know what? You're right. I'm hopping on a flight right now. Do you want to be on the doghouse or work with Diamond? I don't know Diamond. I don't really know about her. I don't know if I would. The thing is, like, the reason I never collab with anybody is because I can't go anywhere. I have too many responsibilities. I have too many things going on in my life. Most, if not all, of the people involved in Fish Tank do not have wives. I might be the one guy who is married and has to worry that much about rent. A lot of these people, I'm not saying all of them. A lot of these people still are in situations where they can live with their parents for low or no rent type situations. Me, I'm living in the most expensive rent state in the union, and you cannot fucking survive here with one job. It's just not happening. So I have to be not just to work, but also to the gym to make some money there almost every day. So I can't afford, like, I haven't talked to Greg in a long time, right? But I can't afford to go down to Tennessee to collab with Greg. If Greg could come up here, hell yeah. Where you at, dude? If Jimmy Tank was in New England, if it was in Vermont, yeah, fuck yeah. I'll head up there over the weekend. We'll do something fun. Haha. Right? And then I can finally go to Hoarderman's, because I've been telling Jimmy I'm gonna go to Hoarderman's for like fucking years now, and I just never get around to it because I'm too busy. But like I could not go to California to collab. Mizzy, I think she was drunk when she said this because me and Mizzy have never met and we've never had like a meaningful conversation other than when I called into her thing to sing for her, which I still don't know if she knows that was me. Maybe she does by now. Maybe someone told her, but um, like we've never had a meaningful conversation other than that. So, and that's not even a meaningful conversation. But here I go again. Here I go again. But like she did tell me like, "Oh, I wish that you could come out here and teach me some karate shit." She said that. And it's like, "Hey, I wish I could too, you know? I'd like to see LA once. I'd like to see LA one time, you know? Oh man, but I couldn't. I couldn't, you know. Doghouse will probably be in PA. Yeah, and that's the thing, that's a little too far. I could go to like Connecticut is probably the furthest that I could go. Like realistically, you know, and even that's like, whoa, you know. Kyle fans too, to be honest, all he does is degen max. Yeah, you know, you ain't got shit to worry about. Might as well just party it up, right? I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a soda real quick. Don't worry, I'm still here. I had Jamaican food tonight. I had oxtail because I didn't have any curry goat. Oxtail's good. I like curry goat a little bit better. I've never tried jerk chicken though. I've never tried jerk chicken. Scott, you should try hopping trains like a 1940s hobo or like a 2026 Indian. I could hold on to the underside and try not to fall to my death. Or playing scratch offs. That's a good idea too. I should spend all my money on scratch offs. I'm spending all my money on precious metals right now that I can't even keep for myself. I have to sell them. I have to try and flip them for a profit, which I'm going to be able to do, obviously, but it's like frustrating to have to you guys know I'm doing stuff on Facebook Marketplace. It's so annoying to have to deal with these people, you know. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jerk shrimp got a better train instead of riding it. Oh, dude, fucking jerk shrimp got a better ratio of spice to meat. I started reading one and then I started reading another. Holy shit. Indians get hit by the train instead of riding it. Ah, that's true. That's true. Jerk shrimp got a better ratio of spice to meat. IMO. Yeah, I've never tried jerk shrimp. The place I went to, I don't think they had jerk shrimp. They just had jerk chicken, you know. It was good though. He let me try a bite, you know. Um, the Jamaicans, here's the thing, right? And I have a theory about this before we finally get into what we're looking at right here. The Jamaicans and the Haitians that I've met in America have been solid people. They're cool dudes, they're chill. They can be a little sometimes, but not in any sort of like crazy insane way. It's like I would be like a little bit nervous if I got a managerial job somewhere and it was all Haitians underneath me because they're very clannish and they like you know it can be tough sometimes, right? But like they're good people. And I have a theory, right? All the Zoe Pound motherfuckers, all they can do is hop in a boat and then swim and row to Florida, and that's just where they're at. That's where they stay. But like the richer Haitians and the richer Jamaicans, they're like, me go and take a plane. Me go and take a plane to Boston. Me go and take a plane to Jamaica, Queens. You know, fucking that's what they do. So they come up here and like they're all right dudes, you know. But yeah, the guy at the restaurant said he'd save me some curry goat. He was like, "When you coming in next?" I was like, for probably sometime next week. He's like, "All right, what day?" And I tell him what day, and he's like, "I'll make sure to save you some because this is the second time you came in." I was like, "All right, man, thank you." Scott, do you eat beef patty with mozz and pep around your parts? Beef patty? Yeah, I used to eat beef patties on stream. I used to love the fuck out of those things, and then I just stopped eating them for some reason. I don't know why. And now I'm remembering like, oh yeah, Jamaican food's good. I should eat that shit more. So I actually had some beef patties the other night, but I burned them. I fucking burned them in the oven, so they came out awful. You you Irie white boy. You all right, white boy. Curry goat sauce on the slaw is the best. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big up. Anyway, so shocking number of millennial and Gen Z parents spank their kids, study says, necessary to raise a child properly. Excuse me, millennial and Gen Z children were put on prescription drugs that turned them into zombies and then treated like animals by every institution who would further medicate them if they pushed back at all. It's no surprise to me that they'd say, no more of that, I'll just spank. That was what I said. I did not give my opinion on this. Some people took it to be like, I'm giving my opinion, right? But I did not give my opinion on this. I'm going to read something from M Bags. As someone who was spanked as a kid, I think it could sometimes be justified, but definitely not the first choice, and hopefully very infrequently. And this is one of those things where it's like, you got to realize that everybody's a little bit different. Everybody has different cognitive abilities and stuff like that, and everybody has different levels of tolerance for different things. And I'm not saying like, oh, it's okay, it just depends on the person, but like, it's tough to have a hard line opinion on this. I know Sam, he wrote like a 5-paragraph essay about this, and he basically said, look, like, it's not good to be spanking your kids. And I can see what he's saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, but also it's like, as somebody who works with children, I know children are a lot more aware and a lot more intelligent, and they're a lot more receptive than you would expect. In fact, a lot of people greatly underestimate even their own children. They have a very egotistical way of viewing their children as though they're like retarded or something like that, when they're not. They're just children. They don't know certain things yet. They just don't have the experience. And I can tell you that if you sit a lot of children down and you say, hey, that wasn't okay, don't do that again. Not like what do they call it? Gentle parenting, not gentle parenting. Like you sit them down and you have a real talk with them. If you do that, they will learn the lesson. But the thing is, it may not happen the first time. I've seen children improve, not the first time, not the second time, not the 20th time, but the 50th time that I've had to say something to them. It finally went into their head and it stuck there. It finally stuck. It didn't go in one and out the other. It got caught in there. And because of that, they're different now. They've changed. They've matured. They have a little bit more experience now because you help them with that. But there are some things where it's like you can't wait for the 50th time. If my son is playing with matches, how am I going to like how do I get it through to him the first time? Because if he's the kind of kid who needs 50 times to get it through his head, I don't want my son playing with matches 50 times. So it's like what do you do? What do you do? You know, I'm in the camp of, we know what is good parenting versus bad parenting, but that's more of a macro scale, right? Like, don't drink around your kids all the time. Don't smoke around your kids all the time. Don't constantly berate your kids and things like that. That's the macro. That's practically obvious, even though people a lot of the time don't follow that because people are stupid. We just got done talking about different IQs and stuff like that, right? But when it comes down to it, I feel like there is a bit of nuance where it's like, you probably shouldn't be doing it a ton, if at all, but I could at least understand the premise. I could understand the reasoning behind it, you know? Like I said, if my child was playing with matches, if my child was like running with scissors, if my child was like, he picks up a steak knife and he's running around with it pointed out like that, right? If he's the kind of child that I know I'm going to have to tell him that like 20, 30, 40 more times before he finally stops doing it, that can't happen. I can't let that fly, you know? I think a lot of parents are a little too permissive, and that's what leads to a lot of these situations where kids who are diagnosed with autism, they get worse instead of better, right? I've seen it happen before where there's been children who come into my jujitsu class and they have some kind of spectrum disorder. They're low functioning autistic is what they might be referred to. And because of that, they don't really express themselves very well. They get flustered. They lash out physically, sometimes physically against other people, sometimes physically against like an inanimate object. Maybe they stamp their feet. Maybe they start like thrashing around, or sometimes they lash out against themselves. They start hitting themselves. And the thing is, the parents just sit there and kind of let whatever is happening happen. And they wonder why nothing gets through to their kid. But when I sit there and I physically sometimes have to stop the child, like I have to grab the child, not like aggressively or hard or anything like that, but I have to pull him away from the thing or the person he's trying to hit, or I have to stop him from hitting himself by like, grab the arms and hey, no, we're not doing that. You're not doing that. Sometimes I have to do that kind of thing. Eventually, because they realize that that's not the way to get what they want, they cease the behavior, or at the very least, it is curtailed slightly. You start to notice improvements. Of course, as soon as they get back with mom and dad, they revert because they know that they can get away with it with mom and dad, right? Each person is different. And it's hard for me to have like a hard line, yes spanking, no spanking kind of situation here. And also we have to define what spanking is, because you have some people who they got hit on the hands with like a wooden spoon. You got some kids they got whipped with a branch. You have some kids who they literally had to take their pants down and lay across their dad's knee, and it was like a very humiliating thing. Right? It was meant to be humiliating a little bit. And then you also have people who they are incapable of doing something as simply a punitive measure. That punitive measure always has to have some kind of anger or some kind of fuck you attached to it. It's not that you've done wrong and I need to correct you, son. It's that you've done wrong and I'm angry at you. So now I'm taking my anger out on you. That's also another thing that we have to consider. Overall, it's tough because, what are the other options? A lot of people, like I said, they just medicate their children, I remember I was reading this book. It was called The Psychopath Test. This was during COVID. I started listening to audiobooks, and a couple of them I listened to were about psychopathy and other behavioral disorders or just personality disorders. And there was a chapter where it was addressing the over diagnosis of mental disorders and the over prescribing of medications. And you have this woman who is being interviewed by the author, and he talks about how her child, who was like, I think 9 or 10 years old, he was making a little bit of noise. So the mom sits there and is like, Cameron, it's time to take your medicine. Literally, like that was the spanking. That was the spanking right there. Was, you're getting on my nerves, kid. It's time to take the pharmaceuticals. Take the pharmaceuticals now. You're getting on my nerves. And there's so many people that are so fucked up. I'm one of them. I have fucking gynecomastia, I have female breast tissue that came because I was prescribed a generic form of Risperdal, which, if you remember Risperdal, that was on the news, not on the news, on the TV for like, I feel like years. I feel like I saw that for like a year and a half, 2 years. There was a class action that was against whoever made Risperdal, and it was for gynecomastia. And this is what people who don't spank are doing to their kids. It's like, honestly, I think it might just be a question of whether you're high or low class. If you're higher class, you're going to do something the quote unquote right way, right? If you do spank your kid, you're going to do it in a way that is less fucked up. I won't say it's the right way, but it's less fucked up, right? If you're lower class, you're going to do it in a way that is more fucked up. It's going to be, son, I want you to go outside and I want you to pick a tree branch and I'm going to cut that tree branch down and I'm going to whoop you with it. Like, son, bring me my belt. Bring me my belt. Son, get that book off the shelf. Come hand me that book, right? Like, if you get somebody who's lower class, they're probably more likely to do it out of anger and out of a feel of wanting to embarrass and humiliate and subjugate, and because of that, you're going to see worse outcomes. And then if you're the kind of person who doesn't spank, but you're lower class, you're that Dalit, you're an American Dalit, you are probably going to say, my kid's defective, give him Risperdal, give him an SSRI. Hey, you got Prozac, give him Prozac. Yeah, I want him sitting in a chair like this for 23 hours a day. He gets 1 hour of yard time. I want him to be a prisoner in his own body and my own house and my house. If you're lower class, that's probably the way you would handle it if you don't spank, I got spanked when I was a child. I got spanked out of anger a lot of the time. It was never because I did something genuinely wrong. It was because I was getting on someone's nerves. Like, for instance, I got the wrong set of colored pencils when I was younger. My dad wanted me to grab a specific set of colored pencils out of the little drawer full of like art supplies that I had. And I didn't know he wanted that one. I grabbed the one that I would usually grab and use for myself. And because of that, he thought I was like fucking around, I guess, and he spanked me because of it. Another example was I was in the second grade and I took a shower, and of course I'm like 8 or 9, so I'm not going to take a shower the right way. I didn't wash my hair because I didn't feel like washing my hair that day, and my dad noticed that my hair looked unwashed when I got out of the shower. So after I had already put on my clothing, he tried to make me stick my head under the faucet in the shower so that I could wash my hair. And when I hesitated, excuse me, when I hesitated, he got upset and he spanked me. Because the only reason I hesitated, by the way, was because I had my school clothes on. I didn't want them to get wet, right? This is an example of being spanked the wrong way. But truth be told, as unacceptable as that was of my dad to do, and it was mostly my dad who would do the spanking, as unacceptable as that was, I do not hold that against him in the way that I hold the fucking female titties that I now have against my mother, who was the one who was like, no, meds, I want you on meds. You need to be on meds. You need to get on meds now. Scott, take your meds. Scott, it's time to take your meds. Take your meds. Hey, we're going to take you to the doctor and we're going to see if we can get your meds up. I want to up your dosages. Like, and you guys know this because as I go through this quarter life crisis that I'm currently in the middle of, I've been working through it partially by just fucking talking your guys' ears off about it. And I mostly talk about the bad things my mom did and the way those had a worse effect on me than any kind of spanking, you know? So it's like, when it comes down to it, this is a really tough conversation to have. It's tough to end up on either side because, truthfully, I think I would have rather have been spanked than have been put on what I was put on. All these different medications, lithium, Risperdal, etc., etc. The fucking psychiatrist just experimenting on me, using me as a guinea pig. I would have rather been spanked, if I'm being honest with you. But I could totally understand why somebody like Sam, for instance, might say, no, I don't think that's the right way to do things. One thing, and I've been trying to find a way to talk to the kids in my class about this. One thing that people don't realize is that if you're a boy, especially, but children in general, you are not supposed to grow up to be perfect. Nobody's supposed to grow up to be perfect, right? That's an unrealistic expectation. The only good is God. The only good is Christ. That's it. None of us are good, but you will cause trouble and it will not be the end of the world. And you're not like the worst fucking guy because you caused a little bit of trouble. I mean, yeah, you can definitely cross a line. You can definitely take it too far. You definitely, absolutely, positively can. And there's going to be people that hold it against you forever and ever and ever. That's just the way that it is. That's the way it be. That's the way it do. But when it comes to, excuse me, when it comes to a situation where you are just spreading your wings and you're trying things out and you see something that is not exactly kosher, but you want to try it anyway, that's not the worst thing in the world. Life and growing up and raising a child is not supposed to be clean. It's supposed to be very messy, confusing, and honestly kind of crazy thing. And if you expect a child to constantly be behaving properly, and if he's not behaving properly, you are constantly severely punishing him, regardless of what that severe punishment is, that child is going to grow up to be a little bit fucked up. I saw another tweet. I wish I saved this one because it would have been a really good one to go over. I only saved the gems, which is why I save all of my tweets. Okay. No, but this tweet would have been very good to talk about. People who were spanked when they were younger, they apparently grow up to be a little bit more fearful and a little bit more anxious, and they grow up to not be as assertive and things like that. And I think the same exact thing can happen when you're put on prescriptions. I think the same exact thing can happen when you're consistently and constantly berated. Actually, now that I think of it, I don't even think they were talking about spanking specifically. Spanking may have been involved in that, but now that I'm thinking of it, I remember it was more about berating your child, more about like telling them they're nothing, telling them they're going to be shit, telling them they're being bad and that they're a bad kid and stuff like that. And I've seen that happen with plenty of different people. I'm one of them. Fuck, man. And that is the last thing that you need to be doing to your kid. It's the last thing you need to be doing to your child. That's something that I talk about with my wife a ton, is like the things that I don't want to do, the things that I don't want to be, what kind of father I'm going to be. And I talk about, look, like like we can't be holding our sons or daughters to a standard that we could not expect of ourselves, for one thing. But then in addition to that, we can't be holding our sons and daughters to a standard that is simply not going to be worthwhile in today's world. Because that's one thing that I realized is like, why would I hold my son accountable for things that nobody else is going to hold their son accountable for? Why would I ever yell at my son for something that somebody else would not get yelled at for? I mean, I can tell him, yo, that's fucked up. I don't know why you would do that. Yo, you should probably not do that again. But there's no way in hell I'm going to genuinely punish my son for something that somebody else would not be punished for, And that's how I see a lot of things in the world today, is like, hey, some other asshole would do this with a smile on his face, and he wouldn't even feel the least bit bad. He wouldn't feel the least bit responsible for any of the mayhem or the carnage or just the inconvenience that he's causing. So you know what? I ain't gonna feel bad about that. And another thing, this is, I guess, sort of related to this. Something that I've had to become comfortable with recently is not giving a fuck about whether or not I hurt somebody based off of certain things. Like, for instance, I told you guys it was early last year. I got into a car crash. It was like the worst week I had had in a long time. And sure enough, to add insult to injury, I get hit up by an ex-girlfriend of mine. This is somebody who I had been cordial with, somebody who I would even consider myself to have been friendly with, but she's a bit of a liberal. She's married to a man who is pretending to be a woman. And she hits me up randomly. This is like, mind you, 2 months into Trump's presidency, maybe not even 2 months. It might have been like a month into Trump's presidency. She hits me up and she's like, hey, so what do you think about Trump? I was like, I don't really think about him. I have other things that I have to do. Politics is not that much of a thing to me anymore the way that it used to be. I'm just living my life doing my thing, but I'd rather have Trump than Kamala Harris. And she started fucking going off on me. At first it was about politics, right? But then it was about our relationship when we were in high school. Now, I didn't do anything crazy in our relationship in high school. We were about the same age. She was a year older than me. And it was just that classic, like, high school boy wants to have sex, asks, can we have sex? She says no. I forced the issue a little bit, but not in like a crazy, inappropriate way, just the way that high schoolers do. Oh, but like, would you think about it? But I mean, we don't have to have like sex. Like, could I at least like touch your boob? Like that type of shit. Would you like touch me? That type of shit, you know? She never got over that. She was like really still fucking upset about that at the time. And I could understand, I guess, right? If that's something that upsets you that bad, I didn't want to upset you, you know? I was a foolish teenager. That type of shit happens. Every foolish teenage boy does that kind of thing. I'm sorry if it upset you. However, you also are talking about somebody who not only was a foolish teenage boy, but I was also psychologically and mentally abused, right? Fucking psychologically and mentally, psychologically and emotionally, excuse me. I was psychologically and emotionally abused by fucking everybody. My parents, the school system, any third space that I was a part of, there was always some aspect of it that was detrimental to me, that it put me in a place where like I could not advocate for myself and I could not be normal. I was on these medications that were fucking me up. I had problem after problem after problem back then, and you don't care about that. You're not interested in that. You've never thought, hey, we were young and naive and we were foolish. That was stupid of him. But you know what? It's not like he fucking raped me. He was just a stupid teenage boy. That's what stupid teenage boys do. They're stupid and they're teenagers and they're boys. It happens. And maybe he was going through something. Maybe there was something that was happening with him that made it really tough for him to be normal. So maybe I should cut him some slack. There's no thought on her end about that. So why would I continue to give a fuck about feeling like I owe her an apology or anything like that? She is inconsiderate and self-centered and obsessive and a fucking weird freak. She's a weird freak. So fuck her. I don't give a fuck about her. Suck my dick. You know? It's like, get out of my face. And that's something that like it's something that I've had to come to terms with recently, you know? It's something that because of the upbringing that I had a hard time with that kind of thing myself, you know? Yeah, M-Bags, I was thinking earlier the best way to argue with your mother is to leave her house at the first sign of discomfort or irritation and come back a fully developed man, leaving no room for contention. Masculinity scared her so bad she needed a tranny to feel normal. Yeah, pretty much, you know? I mean, what it was, right? I'll be honest with you guys, right? This is what happened between me and her, and like this is why for a long time I understood if there was a little bit of like, why'd you do that? But also, we were teenagers. I asked this girl out. I did not find her to be that attractive, if I'm being honest with you. I was a sad, lonely teenage boy who was looking for someone who felt like he was cared for, right? I wanted to feel like somebody cared about me, right? So I sit down in my Latin class and there's this girl behind me. Again, not very attractive, fucking weird freak just like me at the time. I turn around without ever having spoken to her at all. And I tell her, I think you're pretty. Do you want to go out? She says yes. Guess I got a girlfriend now. Fantastic. Well, the thing is, a relationship that starts that way is not going to be a very strong relationship. It's not going to last. It's not going to last, right? We dated for, I want to say a month and a half, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. And I lose interest. The hormones shifted. That's what happens when you're a teenager and you're growing up. But more so, it's what happens when you're on medications that fuck with the chemical balances inside of your brain. They fuck with your hormones. You think one thing's a good idea and then bang, no, actually it's a bad idea and I want to do this now, right? So I break up with her, but we agree that we're still going to remain friends. I think a month or two later, I decide, again, on a whim, because I'm looking for an external source of validation so that I can stop feeling depressed, which is always a losing battle. But I was 15. So, you know, I decide I want to date her friend. Now, without thinking, I think, well, why don't I just ask this girl the ex, why don't I just ask my ex if she can try and set me up with the girl? And she didn't take too kindly to that, right? And I guess they had this weird schizo thing where they were going to be like, oh, she wants to meet you after school. They were going to try to like embarrass me in some way, shape, or form. They had this like weird conspiracy. They were going to set me up and it just never came to fruition, you know? Excuse me. Jeez. Like, she carried that around with her for over 15 years. For like 16 or 17 years. She carried that around with her. And she was just sitting on that angry, just like seething, upsetty. She was fucking upsetty about it for almost 20 years, almost 2 decades. And it's like, holy balls, man. Holy fuck, bro. Get out of here. If you think I'm going to be like, oh, well, I guess I deserve you yelling at me because I did that thing when I was a teenager. Get the fuck out of my face. What awful people. Exactly. Exactly. You know? What a fucking weirdo. The world needs us to be more loving and understanding, not that we have to be doormats either. Exactly, you know? And that's what I try to be. I try to be loving, I try to be understanding, you know? I try to let people be who they are, and I just try to be who I am. But unfortunately, people are not good. I'm not good either. I'm not good either. I try though. I'm trying my best here. My best is not good enough, but I'm trying. And a lot of people are not trying at all. The only thing they're trying to do is get whatever the hell they want all the time, no matter what. And because of that, you have a lot of people out there who they will use you as a stepping stone to whatever they want, even if it's something as small as just momentary validation from a group of people, you know? Oh, excuse me. Jeez. But yeah, people are fucked. People are fucked, kid. People are fucking fucked, dude. Ah, ah, man. Anyway, I'm trying to remember everything that I had to talk about today, and I'm pretty sure that was it. Yes. So I want to see how much of this guy's stuff I can see. Oh, excuse me. I I I love dudes that are slightly dysgenic. Like either A, because they're just straight up slightly dysgenic, or B, because they are in their late 30s to early 40s, maybe even closer to 50, and they still dress like they're going to a club in the year 2009. I love that shit. That's so funny. Um, when are you gonna start rocking the Peaky Blinders hats, Scott? Dude, soon, soon. It's gonna happen. It's gonna fucking happen. It's gonna happen soon. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, turn this up a little bit.
So I never
I've that I just love that. I fucking love
want
that.
him to get this close. If he breaks that 3-foot rule, I'm going to tag him, right? Because that's where you want to make sure that if a guy's moving and he breaks that boundary, a lot of bad stuff can happen really fast. But I'm checking his hands to make sure that his hands, he doesn't have any weapons in him. He doesn't have anything around his belt line. Obviously, he's got something in his pocket. It's going to take him a minute to get that out. But when he breaks that line, I've got my hand here. I want him to think I'm not ready. That's where I shoot with that top back part of my head. And now I'm going to move up with my arms, and I'm going to start to flow on him. And when I flow, and when I say flow, it's like being in a state of flow. You're not thinking, am I throwing a jab across a hook? You're just letting the water out, right? And the water of violence is just spreading all over his body. And so I just start to continue to strike, and I drive him back until he's no longer a threat. Comment ready below to get my free video training series today.
Man, I gotta see it again. I gotta see it again.
So
It's fucking A, dude. So this is probably a Wing Chun guy, or whatever he learned was probably based off of Wing Chun to some degree, because that's very much a Wing Chun thing. Is the just try to hit the windmill punch, hit that continuous punch shit. Look, there's a thing with self-defense guys, right? Some of them can fill in the blanks. And what I mean by that is you might have a dude who is an MMA fighter who he's really good at fighting anybody, whether it's in or out of the cage. But things like situational awareness, or what you should be doing with your eyes and your hands and other stuff like that, they may not 100% have that down pat. This guy has that down pat. I'm going to give him credit where it's due, right? I'm not the kind of person who is a big talker in the first place, but I especially don't talk when somebody is trying to get in my face, not because I'm afraid, but because I am focusing everything on other stuff, i.e., trying to determine what are his hands doing? What does he have in them? Do I think he has a weapon on him? How close is he? How close is he going to get before I start to try and do something? Right? You'll notice that I don't really, I'm not much of a shit talker when somebody's 2 inches from my face, right? Um, so like theoretically, this guy is not wrong, right? He has some good ideas, but it's
I
just
never want him to get this close. If he breaks that,
I'm gonna
3-foot
show
rule,
you
I'm
the
gonna
problem
tag
that I
him,
have
right?
with
Because
these
that's
types of
where
guys
you
in a
want to make
second.
sure that if a guy's moving and he breaks that boundary, a lot of bad stuff can happen really fast. But I'm checking his hands to make sure that his hands, he doesn't have any weapons in them, he doesn't have anything around his belt line. Obviously, he's got something in his pocket. It's going to take him a minute to get that out. But when he breaks that line, I've got my hand here. I want him to think I'm not ready. That's where I shoot with that top back part of my head. And now I'm going to move up with my arms, and I'm going to start to flow on him. And when I flow, and when I say flow, it's like being in a state of flow. You're not thinking, am I throwing a jab across a hook? You're just letting the water out, right? And the water of violence is just spreading all over his body. And so I just start to continue to strike, and I drive him back until he's no longer a threat.
So here's the issue that I have with this right now, right? And we're going to look at more of this guy's stuff if we're able to. I don't want to have to log into Instagram on here, but the issue that I have with this is, and to be fair, it's just an Instagram reel. He's got to be very specific about Instagram reels. He can't be giving away like tons of knowledge over the course of a minute. It's not going to happen. But I always have an issue with move guys. And what I mean is a dude who he puts you in a certain situation. He does like situational training. And he has a move that he swears by that he's going to teach you, and that's going to be your move from that place, right? There's so many things that can happen in a street fight. There's so many things that can happen in any kind of altercation. It's going to be tough for you to only rely on a headbutt and then that, right? You're going to need a little bit more. You're going to need a little bit more than that. In theory, that would work because Mr. Bike Helmet is letting it work, right? And is a headbutt a bad idea? No, not necessarily. Personally, I don't like to headbutt with the side of my head. I want to headbutt here. I've headbutted one or two people in my life, okay? I've never headbutted with the side of my head, or he said the back of his head. I don't know. That's even worse. You want to headbutt with the crown whenever you can, right? A headbutt is not a bad idea. It's just, it's not always going to be the best idea. It's not always going to be the best thing you want to do. And then the whole thing, the average person can't just do that, right? The average person is going to be better off throwing as hard as they can, as many times as they can, because what you're going to have a better opportunity to do is actually knock the guy out in a real way, or stagger him so that you can keep on trying to hit him, right? The average person does not have that ability, that small manipulation, that small movement ability. They're when somebody is stressed, when somebody is when adrenaline is rushing, fine motor skills tend to go out the window in favor of larger, more broad, and more powerful motor skills, motions, movements, whatever you want to call them, right? And because of that, showing this on the internet, even claiming that somebody's going to learn how to do that if they buy your thing, that's not great. This guy, I get it. He's trying to sell something. I get it. I'm trying to sell something too. In fact, I keep telling myself I have had no time. I've been working for a long time on an instructional course of my own, also a book of my own. And frankly, I kind of put them on the back burner because I'm not in any kind of rush to get them done. But they're things that at some point I am going to try to sell to people, right? So I get it. But right now, I'm like half in, half out. I'm half in, half out. You know, I'm like 50-50. Let's see. Fucking annoyance. Let's see here, right? The black John Wick stands his ground. That dude's black? I thought he was just fucking tan. I thought he was very tan.
So what's happening here is you're standing here with your lady friend. This gentleman is threatening you. You're going to use the back of your head.
No.
Pushing in. And
why
then
would
your
you use the
arm
back
that's
of your
tight
head?
To your body is going to cut right across to your shoulder. And then if you need to, your other hand on your other side is going to come up right into his throat, or you could throw off with the other side. So either way, everything's super tight, and it just moves 1, 2, 3, and then you can flip.
You see, again, like extremely specific movements, extremely specific things to do, and he's trying to sell this as though it's like, yes, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do in this situation. First off, why is this dude back against a wall? Like, did you and your lady friend back him against the wall? Why does it matter that you have a lady friend here in the first place? What this dude is trying to do, and I can understand it to a degree, again, as somebody who also has something to sell, he's trying to put you in a place where your heartstrings are being tugged on. Nobody wants to be disrespected or embarrassed in front of their woman. You know, I'm much more likely to fight somebody when my wife is around versus when it's just me, you know? Because like I'm a man, right? And it's not, I'm not saying that I would go out of my way or anything like that, but it's a combination of, you're not going to embarrass me in front of my woman. Plus, what if you decide you're going to try to do something to my woman? I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to protect her because I am her protector, right? I am her protector. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. I think it was a Batman Can't Stop Thinking About Sex. But anyway. Yeah, like that's my issue with this stuff is you don't need specific scenarios all the time. You can train for specific scenarios here and there, but if you're front loading for new people, specific scenarios, a lot of people aren't going to bother to purchase your thing. They're just going to see this and they're going to think, yes, that's what I would do. Excuse me, that's totally what I would do. And then when the time comes, they're not going to do it. They're going to get beat up, you know? Again, like here we have fucking.
So what's happening here is while you're with your female friend, this guy's coming up. He's trying to do his machismo thing. I'm going to give him a little nudge just so I can bump him out of the way, so I can pop up with the elbow. This hand's going to be super tight. I'm going to ride my own arm as a track, and I'm going to hammer fist him right in the temple. Again, you can throw from here. You can start to fly into him. Whatever you need to do to keep you and your friend safe.
And again, like this is all stuff that unless you train it, you're not going to be able to do it. And even if you do train it, you're probably not going to be able to do it because it's so specific to the scenario. He's giving specific, like this is what I'm talking about. It's like, it's easy for this stuff to look like it works when it's a dude wearing a bike helmet every time for some reason, who's letting you do it to him. When you're specifically, you're creating a straw man. You're creating a straw man that you're knocking down. It's the physical version of if I was creating a straw man of like a left winger or something like that, so that I could be like, yeah, the left is always wrong. They are, but you know, you get the idea, right? I want to see, yes, versus keyboard warrior. You motherfucker. Well, let me. I want to see the keyboard warrior one. I want to see if we can get that one. Yes. Yes.
Number one, you don't want a guy to get this close to you. Number two, if he does, if for whatever reason you're in a crowd and you have to function, this is going to pop right off the ground, almost like that water hose principle, straight to the groin.
Oh, yeah?
As soon as he opens, shoot the elbow up into his chin and slam this one down on his face. Now make sure that when you're doing this, you're keeping your energy forward so you can drive forward with whatever else you need.
And here is probably the best example. This one right here, I'm glad we looked at it because this is what all of these quote-unquote combative systems are. They are methods to sucker punch people. They are glorified sucker punching systems. Things that you don't need to train to be able to do. You don't need to be able to train sucker punching somebody, right? It's anyone can do that. In fact, most people that sucker punch people have no training at all. But here we have this guy.
Number one, you don't.
Hey, I want to talk to you. I don't think your shit works. What? Get kneed in the balls right away. You're just trying to have a conversation with this guy. And he just wham right to the nuts. And then he starts doing shit that would never work. Like, for instance, right?
Number two, if he does, if for whatever reason you're in a crowd and you have to function, this is going to pop right off the ground.
This is going to pop right off the ground, like it's something that's inevitable, like it's absolutely positively going to happen for sure, no matter what. It's going to happen.
Almost like that water goes straight to the...
And then this, right? You knee the dude in the nuts. First off, like, he's not gonna he's not gonna go into like a deep squat after you knee him in the balls. He's probably just gonna fall over. You know, he's not gonna go into a deep squat at just the right height for you to do this move, to try this move. That's not gonna work. It's never gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. I don't know what to tell you, you know? You're teaching people how to sucker punch people in ways that are not even going to be realistic. That's how crazy this is that the easiest thing that you could do, the most low risk thing you could do for yourself, right? Well, for your own health. He is overcomplicating it and putting in things that would never actually happen. You're going to knee a dude in the nuts. He's going to bend over. And then I don't know what that second move was where he was like, whoa. Like, I don't know what that was supposed to be, but then this dude, as he's coming back up, he hasn't moved back at all. He hasn't tried to create space or anything like that, which is the first thing anybody does in that situation. Even trained people know that you either want to create space or you want to close distance and try and create a situation where you're grappling, where you're on top, especially, right? But an untrained person especially is going to want to do that. They're going to want to get away. And this dude is just assuming that after you knee this dude in the nuts, he's not going to move away at all. In fact, he's going to do exactly what you need to do to finish the sequence. It's just not good, you know? Like, this guy is not the worst that I've seen. I got to give him credit where it's due. He's got the right idea when it comes to street self-defense, or I've stopped calling myself a self-defense expert. I started calling myself something worse, which is a street fighting expert. That is so much worse to call yourself that for a couple of different reasons, but it's closer to what I do. It's closer to what I am actually versed in, right? I mean, yes, mixed martial arts, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, all that stuff, but I take from all of those to create a comprehensive system of my own, right? And there are mental and physical aspects to that system. There are things that you have to understand about reality and the way things work and what a good choice versus a bad choice is depending on the situation. He's not bad on that whole, like, here's what I need to do before the fight starts kind of thing. But when the fight starts, it's a no-go, you know? It ain't going to work. Unless he gets to throw the first punch, he's in bad shape. Each one of these scenarios that we saw, there was never, hey, so this guy takes a swing on you and you have to defend the punch, right? You have to defend the punch, and then you have to flow. You have to flow into him. You have to flow is what you got to do. He doesn't even have a situation like that. It's just, so yeah, this guy gets close to you and you, whoa. And it's like, no, dude, no, that's not what happens. That's not how it works, bro, you know? But I was sent this guy by Faceless, all right? WANGHAF on Twitter, all right? He's got a lot more clout than me. He doesn't need the shout out, but, you know, I just wanted to say thank you for that. I don't even know if the guy actually watches my stuff, truth be told. I think he might just be being nice, you know, because he's got more clout than me, and he seems like a nice guy, and maybe he just wants me to like do well. Maybe he's taking a liking to me. I don't know, but he did send that to me, and he suggested that I talk a little bit about this guy. You know, this is the first time that I watched anything other than that first whatever it's called thing that he sent me. That first reel that we watched, that was the one that he sent me specifically. Everything after that was the first one, you know? But yeah. Oh fuck. Okay. All right. We gotta hit one more.
So we end up in a situation where somebody is bigger than you, there's multiple opponents, they're coming after you, you're just trying to get through them to your family, maybe they're attacking your family.
He's got the blade. I think he's got the blade. That makes this so much worse.
On the other side, you got to eliminate this threat quickly. I'm going to pull. I ride the track. I turn it. I push.
Oh my gosh.
Now, if he stops the hand, we'll get into this later. Throw the elbow over, break down, and now I have another, again, concept I can use. Comment the word train below to train with me live.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So we end up in a situation.
It's a knife, dude. You can just stab the fuck out of people. I would know. I won a knife fighting tournament myself. Right? Fucking, you can, like, it doesn't take, you don't need that much training to stab somebody. You don't need that much training to shoot somebody. Black dudes in Chicago do it to each other every weekend, every night. Detroit, New Jersey, New York City, Los Angeles. They fucking, you think they're training their Mozambique? You think they're training their like Doug Marcaida like flow drills? No, they're pulling their shit out, and it's just fucking poke as many holes into the guy as possible, you know. But he's again Black John Wick. That's part of the issue with these guys is there always has to be some kind of like tactical military thing, or it has to be like badass street fighter hitman. There's a couple of different archetypes that these guys try their best to embody, and this guy, you know, as we've seen, he wants to be Black John Wick. You know, it's like fucking A, dude. Light-skinned John Wick. Man, Scott is our woman. Don't forget. Yes. Thoughts on Democrats' social media? Recent reply on X. I might know what you're talking about. Is that the one where like I think some account that is like a Democrat branded account. They called somebody ugly or something like that. You know, it's like what a surprise. You know, these people hate you and they want you dead. I don't know why people are acting. I don't know why people are acting surprised. You know. That's one of the reasons I got out of politics, even though I've been talking more and more about politics on Twitter and stuff like that as time has gone on. Like, I got out of politics because it's just a revolving door of new people coming in, and it's just the adventures of the guy who just started paying attention. They're asking all the questions you asked 10 years ago and you figured it all out, and now they're asking them like they're the ones who are just starting to notice and everybody else is 10 years behind them, right? And you have a bunch of situations where, like, you know, Antifa, the left, whatever you want to call them, they're attacking federal buildings and stuff like that, and it's like, this is nothing new. They've done that for decades, literal decades. Fucking, not even just decades, like well over 100 years at this point, you know? They've always been like this. It's always been the way that it's been. I understand that now we have independent media. Everybody's got smartphones and stuff like that. So it's a little harder for them to control the narrative like they did with the civil rights movement, right? Where you have situations where people are causing trouble and then using the backlash against the trouble that they're causing as a means to be like, and we just want our civil rights is all we want. I have a dream. Like, you know, fucking, but like it's as new as it is, it's not that new. We've known for well over 10 years with the whole independent media thing, what these people are capable of and what they're up to. And, you know, we were talking about IQ earlier, and this is an IQ thing a lot of the time, you know, people with lower IQs, people with average and below average IQ, and even, you know, slightly above average, the midwit, they do not have a long-term memory that is worth a shit. They cannot remember anything that is more than a year or two old. Even a lot of people have forgotten about COVID shit now. You know, 6 years ago, the world shuts down. People are getting persecuted in many different ways. People have already forgotten about that. You know, they're letting the same people who did that persecution persecute further. And hey, you know, hey, it is what it is. But a lot of people are a lot of people are just they're just fucking idiots, you know. And if you expect them to do anything of value, it's like expecting a dog to ride a bike. It's just not gonna happen, you know. and you will be severely disappointed. You'll be severely disappointed. Um, so yeah, like I'm not going to sit there and when I see the Democrats talking the way that they've been talking in person IRL for like their entire existence, except it's on Twitter this time, I'm not going to act surprised by that. You know, I've had again these people have thrown IEDs at me. You know, they've tried to hit me with brass knuckles and other shit like that. Like I know who they are. I don't need to be reminded of who they are. What I need is for the police to do their job or for the police to get out of the way so that the patriots, the 1776 patriots can do their job for them, because that's what we were doing back in the day. We were protecting innocent people who were expressing their First Amendment rights from domestic terrorists who wanted to kill them for expressing their opinions. And when we did that, who would be the ones that would get arrested? It would be people on our side, almost exclusively. And the people who got arrested on the left, they would be let out. And there's reasons for that that go beyond just pure corruption in the judiciary. But that is a large aspect of it. So what the police need to do is they need to step out of the way when, and I don't know if it will happen again. It probably won't. It probably won't. But if the right wing was mobilized, if there was, say, another Charlie Kirk incident, and because of that, rallies started to come back, or there were groups of people who said, okay, it's about time we start doing something about these people, right? When these people show up to make citizens arrests on the domestic terrorists that are destroying property, that are harming people, that are making threats, that are doing a bunch of illegal things, the police need to stand out of the way, or better yet, they need to help out. You know, that's what needs to happen. I'm not saying anyone should be violent. I'm not saying anyone should attack anyone, but, you know, citizens arrest, I'm pretty sure is legal in all 50 states, though there are different aspects of it that you need to adhere to in order for it to be justifiable and legal according to the judicial systems in all 50 states, or wherever they happen to be legal. But when the crime has a stop put to it by somebody who is not part of the justice system, that person cannot be persecuted for it. And it comes down to the police officer. We know the lawyers and the judges are corrupt. We know the lawyers and the judges are corrupt. It's up to the police officers to say, I didn't see nothing. Because that's what police officers can do. They have the power to do that. 90% of policing is based off of the sensibilities, the moods, and the just general wants of the officer that is in charge right then and there, the officer who is making the arrest right then and there. There are so many situations where a cop lets somebody get away with something that they should not be allowed to get away with, simply because the cop knows them and they're a buddy, or the cop is in a good mood, or maybe it's a woman and the cop's like, oh, tee hee, ho ho, ha ha, right? There are so many situations where that kind of thing happens, from, say, a traffic ticket to a street fight. So many situations. The cops have all the power. The politicians and the judiciary have none of the power. In order to exercise any power that they do have, they have to get a cop to be their long arm to do something. The person that they're trying to persecute has to pass through that police filter in the first place. So if the cops see somebody defending themselves or making a citizen's arrest against one of these left-wing terrorists, they need to say, that guy's not going to pass through the filter. That guy's not going to see a judge. If anybody's going to see a judge, it's the domestic terrorist. That's who's going to see a judge. That guy, though, who was taking out the trash, he's not going to see a judge. I will not arrest him. I don't care. It's not going to happen. But hey, Scott, you should become a cop and then give anyone who watched your streams during Fish Tank free reign to do whatever they want. That's a good idea. We can create an intentional community down south. We can find where we can find that intentional community, right, with all the white people that, like, you know, those people are trying to sue them. We can put ours right next to theirs, and we can call it Little Brazil. and I can be the cop. I can be the sheriff, and I'll just let you guys do whatever you want. Sounds like a good idea. Remember Detroit Urban Survival? Yes, Dust. Detroit Urban Survival Training. The Dust guy, man, that guy was fucking insane. That guy was almost. I mean, he wasn't the opposite. He wasn't the opposite. He was the same side of the coin, just on like a different part of the coin. Like they were both on this side of the coin. It's just that this guy that we were watching now is here. Dust is like over here, is what it is. He's on this side of the head side of the coin, and then Dust is over on this side of the head side of the coin, right? Where Dust, he is very reliant on techniques and stuff like that for any given situation, but he's literally just making it up as he goes. I can at least, when I look at this dude, I see a guy who has some techniques that could work in a broad situation, and he's applying them to acute situations, which is not wrong. That's how it works. However, the assumption that he's always going to be in that place where he can use that technique and that's all he's going to need, or that he can use that technique and then go into his fucking thing, that's where I start to have a problem with the guy. But Dust is just like, literally like, oh, my hand's right here, maybe I could do that, and then it's right here, so maybe I could do that, and then it's right here, so maybe I could do that after. And then he makes a video like that, like just like fucking the way I might sit there in my room alone thinking about what I want to talk about and how I'm going to talk about it, either with you or the class that I'm going to be at, is the way that he does videos. There's no rough draft, there's no type 1, there's no nothing, there's no outline. It's just make it up as he goes, and it's so crazy. Yo, Scott, when are you moving, and why isn't it Florida? I don't know when I'm going to be moving. We had a date, but that date may not work, but it might work. We got to figure things out. We got to figure out what's going down. And we'll hopefully be moved by the end of the year. And the reason it's not Florida is because I've been to Florida once in my life, and it was when I was 10. We want to go to a place that we're a little bit more familiar with. And we've been to a couple of different places. We have an idea of where we're going to go. And we've been to a couple of different places already that we're like, yeah, I could see myself living here. Florida is not one of those places, I'm still not going to tell you guys where we're thinking of settling down, even though we don't actually have like a legit, like, this is where it's going to be yet, Even when I do, I'm probably not going to, say anything about it. The weather and mosquitoes and old age and hurricanes. Yeah, but you get salamanders. I like salamanders. I think those things are cool. I think alligators are pretty cool too. I wouldn't mind an alligator. It feels good to be able to move on. Yep. Put Jet Neptune under citizen's arrest and take over fish tank. That's a good idea. That's what I'm going to do. Man. Oh, wow. I wanted to stream for 2 hours. It's been almost 2.5 hours. We're going to give it till that 2:30 mark, I'm going to play some Fallout 2 after this and eat some fucking, you see, that's one thing, oh man, where'd I fucking put them? Damn. I have, let's put them over here. Oh. I have Brazilian Oreos dipped in chocolate. They're called Negresco. Negresco. I don't know if it's Negresco or Negresco. I believe it's 2 O's, but I could be wrong. Trying to see if I can figure out. Whatever. They're not bad. They're not bad. They're really just Oreos covered in chocolate, like the chocolate covered Oreos that we have. They're not really any different. I figured maybe they'd be a little bit better because like that's the thing is Brazil still does real food mostly. But my wife visited a couple of years ago. It was like September or August of 2024. She went without me because she was just like that homesick. We were just like, all right, fine, just go. Me, I wasn't able to go because of work shit. But um, and she said that it seems like the food is not as good as it used to be. And the thing is, I don't know if it's rose-colored glasses or not. It had been, I think, 4 years, maybe five, since she had come here. Um, so she's probably not that familiar with everything, and she's probably looking back at the good times, like, oh man, I remember how good this stuff was. But that is one thing I'll miss about Massachusetts, is that like we have so many Brazilian stores in my area specifically. It's insane. And like they're getting more robust as well. They're getting more robust. I've also recently found out there's Irish stores around. You can get a bunch of Irish shit. In fact, I wish Cavalog was here. I'd show him some of the shit that I got. I just have these. Not all of them are Irish specifically, but like still. Cadbury Timeout. I got myself a Turkish Delight, which was chocolate covered, and it was delicious. I love the hell out of that thing. I'm gonna get me some more of those. I got some puddings. I think they're just called breakfast pudding, right? And it's a sausage. Like every culture has their own version of like a big ass stick of like salami or meat or something else like that. Maybe it's got a little blood in it. Maybe it's got some barley in it or something like that. Or maybe it's just straight up like salami, and you cut it into slices and you fry it up in a pan and you eat that for breakfast. Every culture has that. It's ridiculous, but it was good. It was good. I didn't mind it, I want to try the white one. They had a black and a white. I want to try the white one, wondering how that one tastes in comparison, but they were good, um that is something that I will miss about Massachusetts. I was talking about fast food with the PKA guys, and I said that Massachusetts doesn't have any good fast food. I was a little bit wrong about that. And the reason why is because I don't consider a pizza place to be fast food like that. But when you think about it, it kind of is like fast food, because you wouldn't classify. You wouldn't classify a local burger joint as fast food, right? You would classify McDonald's as fast food, though, even though McDonald's is not that fast anymore. You might be sitting there for 5 to 10 minutes waiting for your burger. That's considered fast nowadays. Like, no, of course not. That's if you're lucky. You might be there waiting for 15, 20 minutes, depending, right? If you go inside, it's like, fuck, all right, geez. But when it comes to pizza places, you could consider Domino's, you could consider Pizza Hut, Papa John's. You could consider those fast food pizza, I guess you could say. And we have something called Papa Gino's up in this area. If you are ever in New England, I don't know if they have them in New York. I know they have them in the New England states, though. Go to a Papa Gino's. It is some of the best pizza you will ever have. And I mean that. It is really, really good. And I don't know if it's modeled after any other specific type of pizza. Like, I don't know if it's modeled after like New York style. I know it's not New Haven style, which is my favorite personally. One of my favorites is New Haven style. I know it's not modeled after New Haven style. It's not like a bar pizza or a Detroit. If it was unique enough, I would say that is New England pizza. I would say that is like Massachusetts pizza is what I would say, Let me and it might even be from the area that I grew up in. So this might actually be kind of like a local thing, like local, I want to see. But yeah, it has the Airsoft Fatty seal of approval. It has the Airsoft Fatty seal of approval. He said it's better than Sapporo. Papa Gino's Inc. is a restaurant chain based in Dedham, Massachusetts, which, that's kind of where I grew up. Not exactly, but, it's in the county that I grew up in. Specializing in traditional thin crust pizza along with pasta, subs, salads, and a variety of appetizers. You only want to go with the pizza. They do Cinna sticks. They're not amazing, but they're not bad. They're passable. And their garlic bread, their cheesy garlic bread is also passable. But really, you're doing Papa Gino's, you're doing pizza. As of 2023, there are 79 Papa Gino's locations in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island. They don't even have them in Maine or Vermont. Oof. Sucks for you guys. Papa Gino's originated in East Boston, Massachusetts as a single location named Piece O Pizza, which opened in 1961. In 1968, the owners Helen and Michael Valerio, who my grandfather actually knew. Oh no, wait, no. They didn't. No. Or did they? Oh no. No, he didn't. He didn't know. He didn't know the Valerios. He owned the owners of D'Angelo's. In 1968, the owners Helen and Michael Valerio changed the name to Papa Gino's and began expanding the business to multiple locations, 220 when they sold the company to a group of investors in 1991. Yeah, and that's something that's kind of sad and annoying, is that there's a lot of Papa Gino's that have closed down. There used to be a Papa Gino's in like every town that I went to. Now not so much anymore. In 1997, Papa Gino's bought D'Angelo's Sandwich Shops, which, by the way, David Ortiz named his son after D'Angelo's. He named him D'Angelo Ortiz, another Massachusetts-based fast food outlet specializing. And you see, another Massachusetts-based fast food outlet. You see, it's fast food. It's fast food pizza. So we do have okay fast food here in some cases, but it's Papa Gino's. D'Angelo's is not that bad. I don't typically eat at D'Angelo's. I used to eat at them all the time when I was a kid. I used to get a steak and cheese, but then something changed. I think they might have changed some of the ingredients they were using, because I could not stomach them after a while. I don't know what it was, but specializing in sandwiches from prior owner Yum Brands, then known as PepsiCo Inc.'s Pizza Hut unit. Holy fuck. A few months later, executives of a holding company, Papa Gino's Holding Corporation, later known as PGHC Holdings, bought out the company in a deal financed by Bunker Hill Capital Partners. Yes, in 2018. It's 2018. Okay. Well, it's unfortunate, but let's check out D'Angelo's, right? we're just looking at New England fast food, but yeah, like legit. If you're ever in New England, get Papa Gino's. D'Angelo's is cool. Papa Gino's though is the shit. It is the shit. And in fact, I want to see if they have anything about like their they don't have anything about their pizza specifically, but D'Angelo's Grilled Sandwiches is an American chain of 83 neighborhood-style sandwich shops found in Massachusetts, New England, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. None in Vermont, because fuck those hippies. D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches was founded in Dedham, Massachusetts in 1967. It serves various kinds of grilled and deli sandwiches, rice and grain bowls, lobster rolls, grilled top salads, wraps, and hot soups. You go there for the subs, though. Fuck everything else. You go there for the subs. It's just like Papa Gino's. Nobody goes there for the burgers. I don't even know if they have burgers anymore. They had them for a little while, but who would get a burger from fucking Papa Gino's? What are you, gay? Fucking the company's grilled sandwich number 9 was called the finest fast food sandwich in the land in a Bloomberg News column. I don't even know what a grilled sandwich number 9 is. I've never actually gotten one of those things. I grew up on Originals 2 on Ralph Avenue. I've never had any of those. Never had D'Angelo's. Always assumed it sucked. I don't know why. It's not bad. It's like I said. You ever eat something so much as a kid, and then out of nowhere your taste changes, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even stomach this. That's what happened with D'Angelo's steak and cheese subs. I think it's partially American cheese. I can't stand American cheese, it's so rare that I find American cheese actually to be delectable. I have to do like provolone or Swiss or something else like that. Like I bet if I got A steak and cheese with provolone or Swiss or mozzarella, I'd probably love the hell out of it again. You know, also there is one thing. The D'Angelo's Thanksgiving sub is actually very good. It's actually very good. It's very good. That's one thing. I used to eat that every now and again years ago. I forgot about that. I would highly recommend that one. I would highly recommend that one. Um, in March 1967, 21-year-old Brian J. McLaughlin and Jay Howland opened Ma Riva's Sub Shop in Dedham, Massachusetts. They later changed the name to Angelo Sub Shop, and the letter D was added around 1978. A couple of mix are like, all right, let's open an Italian sounding sandwich shop. Supposedly standing for delicious, the name change was to avoid any confusion with Angelo's supermarkets. D'Angelo sold salads, Syrian pocket bread, and sub sandwiches. Their most popular sub was the steak and cheese sandwich. D'Angelo owned Liberty Bakery, which baked and delivered all the bread to each store. They also owned a Progressive Foods Distribution Center, which delivered all the food to each store every week. Later, they added a USDA meat processing plant to shave the 50,000 pounds of steak consumed each week. That's pretty insane. Beginning in the mid-1980s, many of the D'Angelo's locations were co-branded, and the store footprints were reworked to include full-service Steve's ice cream counters. That's pretty sick. This was later changed to Chips Ice Cream. In 1993, PepsiCo bought D'Angelo with the intent to grow the chain into a national brand alongside its other properties such as Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. However, this plan never came to fruition. The chain had 173 locations at the time. PepsiCo eliminated D'Angelo's Chips Ice Cream shortly after purchasing the chain. Some restaurants replaced the Chips Ice Cream add-on with a full-service Pizza Hut add-on. Holy shit. Some locations also integrated a Honeydew Donuts add-on. Oh, and that's another thing. Honeydew Donuts, you see, now I got the brain cooking. Now I got the juices flowing. Honeydew Donuts is Dunkin' Donuts, but not. In August 1997, blah blah blah. I just fucking, yeah, we don't got to read through the whole thing. I just wanted to see if there was any fun little factoids, but it's all like not. But yeah, Honeydew Associates Inc., doing business as Honeydew Donuts, is a privately owned and operated Massachusetts-based coffee house chain selling donuts and other breakfast foods that operates in New England. The chain is mostly known for its donuts and coffee, but also offers sandwiches, bagels, and various types of pastries. Honeydew Donuts opened its first restaurant in 1973 in Mansfield, Massachusetts, and is currently headquartered in Plainville, Massachusetts. I used to play against both of them in high school sports. As of May 2nd, 2026, the chain had 102 restaurants in 3 states. Honeydew is not terrible. It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing you've ever had, but it's just Dunkin' Donuts, but not. That's kind of the thing. Some of their stuff is better. Like, I actually do think their donuts and their muffins are better. And that's because Dunks is just so corporate. It's so nationwide. I think Dunks is like the second or third largest fast food chain in the world. It's like the most ubiquitous or something like that. You find it everywhere. But Honeydew is like, it's kind of a local secret a lot of the time, Thanksgiving sub is a year-round offering. I believe it is. I could be wrong. Publix dumps on Jersey Mike's and Jimmy John's. Who's with me? Publix fall holiday sub is amazing. I've never been to Publix. I have no idea anything about that. Yeah, I know Publix is like a grocery store, right? And then we have Market Basket, which is a good place. You can get a few different kinds of things there. Since we're talking about grocery stores now, Market Basket is it's a good store. It's a good store. They got cheap stuff. They got hot and ready stuff. But you might be running into a bunch of undesirables there. You might run into some undesirables. But yeah. What's going on, Blitz Comment? Man, I do think it is about time I head on out. I gotta do some stuff. Namely, I gotta actually finish Fallout 2 for the first time ever. You know, real New Englanders get coffee from Mary Lou's from a girl in a pink top who's a former heroin addict. Oh yeah, fuck. I always forget about Mary Lou's. I'm not a coffee guy is the problem. That's why I forgot about Honeydew and Mary Lou's. But yeah, Mary Lou's, best coffee in town. Best coffee in town, dude. You see, let's before I go, we'll look up a Mary Lou's commercial for you guys, right? Mary Lou's commercial. This is like Mary Lou's used to be all about like we got cute girls. It was like if Hooters mixed with like it was like if Hooters mixed with whatever it's called, you know. It's like if Hooters mixed with a coffee house, you know.
Hey, have you heard the good news? It's all here at Mary Lou's, the best coffee in town.
Holy shit. This is a much newer one. This is a much newer one. I have not ever seen this one, you know?
There's something for everyone at Mary Lou's, from the funky Fanabla to the minty Lou, from all of our specialty iced coffees to all of our hot gourmet coffees too. There's only one place to choose.
You see,
Mary Lou's.
that's their thing is like it's like pretty girls making your coffee for you. Always smiling, always happy to see you. But what it ends up being is like teenage girls that if you look too long at, people are going to be like, that guy's a fucking creep, isn't he? Or it's like women in their 30s who, you know, like High Ecuador said, who's a former heroin addict. Let's see if we can find one of the older ones. These are all newer ones. These are all newer ones. We gotta get one of the older ones. One of the ones I grew up on.
Have you heard the good news? It's all here at Mary Lou's. The best coffee in town.
These used to play all over the TV.
Put us to the test. The best coffee in town. Our frozen drinks are special. Our pastries are too. Our coffee's really gonna put a smile on you. So come on down. Mary Lou's, the best coffee in town.
Oh man, that fucking CGI. Get the fuck out of here. That CGI at the end, man. We used to be a nation. You know that? We used to be a nation. But yeah, that was part of their thing was like, hey, we have pretty like young, vibrant women that make your coffee for you. And they're not hoes, but you know, they're happy to see you. They're happy to see you. And there was actually a lawsuit, I believe, around 2010, 2011. I remember I was in high school. And there was like, I think it was a fat bitch. Did not get hired for Mary Lou's. And she sued claiming discrimination because she was a fat bitch. And, you know, she didn't get hired. I wonder why. They got titty coffee out west too, but they're all in trailers and much trashier. Yeah, we have high class titty coffee. In the East Coast. You know, oh man, Mary Lou's chicks were the loosest. Of course they were. They were just dressed, not that slutty. Man. Oh, but anyway, I do think it's time for me to get out of here. All right, that was a fun trip down memory lane, seeing some of the Mary Lou's girls. Thank you everybody who showed up today. I appreciate the hell out of it. I don't know when I'm going to be streaming next. It might be tomorrow, it might be Sunday, it might be another time. But I'm going to try my best to make sure that I stream sometime before next Friday. I will talk to you guys all later. Till next time, peace out.
Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes, me running really, really chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running, really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close, smoke, me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Are you and get turned up? No, 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 no. Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke, me running, really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass, chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh.